Okay, welcome everyone to the council meeting for Monday, July 24th, 2017. This is the meeting number 7 to be held here tonight. Note to members of the public, all cell phones, pages, and/or PDAs to be turned off. Additionally, for your information, please be advised that we are audio-video recording this meeting here tonight for your viewing pleasure. Can I ask everyone to now stand for the singing of O Canada and remain standing for the opening petition by Councillor Baalsma. Councillor Baalsma? O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons command. With glorying hearts we see thee rise, thou true nor strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Councillor?
We gather together here today, intent on doing good work, to seek to represent fairly and well those who have given us this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, guided by understanding and wisdom. We seek to serve with respect for all. May our personal faith give us strength to act honestly and well in all matters before us. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor, for leading us in O Canada and the opening petition. Councillors, I'm looking for a change in order of items on the agenda. Councillor Bell, I understand you have one for us tonight, please.
I'd like to move 13U, CEO, West Lincoln Public Library.
And under appointments and presentations,
Yes.
right? Move that up. Okay, thank you. Is there any other changes in tonight's order of the agenda? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, we'll now move on to disclosure of pecuniary interest and/or conflict of interest. Is there any pecuniary interest? Also, Madam Clerk, seeing none. Number 5, I'm here to request to address items on the agenda. Is there any members of the gallery who would like to speak on anything that's on tonight's agenda? You have a total of 5 minutes. Sir, to the microphone, please. Just state your name and your address for the record, please.
Sure, it's Jared Marcus from IBI Group.
Is that on, ladies, clerk? There we go. Jared, now you broke it.
I'm sorry.
Jared Marcus, IBI Group.
Jared Marcus, IBI
Go ahead,
Group.
sir.
Thank you. I'd like to speak to 2 items on the agenda very quickly tonight, if I may.
Yep.
The first item on the agenda is PD 09717. That's the report for the street name for Streamside Development. As you all are likely aware and heard from my colleague, Mr. Arians, back at the public meeting in June, our client, Mr. Severino, has been a long-time member of this community, not only through his development efforts in the Streamside neighborhood, but also through his ongoing volunteer efforts in the community, supporting various causes as well as his ongoing work with the volunteer fire department. So before you in this report tonight, there are 2 choices for the street name, Severino Drive and Vienna Drive, or Severino Circle and Vienna Circle. Both very good street naming choices, but given his longstanding commitment to the community, our client's desire is to see this private street name named after his surname, so Severino Circle. So we're just here to reiterate his involvement in the community and his wishes tonight. So the second item we'd like to talk to is item PD 100-17, and that's in regards to the bylaw for the Northwest Secondary Plan. We just want to offer our support to staff in their effort to try to provide some flexibility to the ongoing planning process for the Northwest Secondary Plan process or secondary plan area. While staff and the consultant have worked very hard to come up with the best possible plan for that secondary, for the secondary plan neighborhood, there are a lot of items that have yet to be addressed through the detailed engineering design and subdivision process. So there's always items that that come up that weren't envisioned or couldn't have been envisioned through the initial secondary plan process. So we feel that this bylaw is a really good effort to maintain that fluidity and flexibility to ensure that the township does get the very best development for that secondary plan area. So we just wanted to offer our support to that bylaw tonight.
Okay.
Those are the two items. So.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you so much. Anybody else in the gallery who would like to speak on any item on the agenda? You could. It's on if you wanted to get up and speak on it. Yep.
I don't know. I'm Paul Reese. I live at 5306 Elko Road. Never been here before. Lived here 52 years now.
Welcome.
But
It's not that bad of a place, really.
no, lived on Elko Road for the last 20 years.
If you would have came for committee, there would have been coffee, actually. But go ahead, Paul.
We're really looking forward to getting our road resurfaced somehow because it's brutal living on there right now. We went through 2 years of a road that was shaped like this. I got worn out knees now because I do a lot of walking, high blood pressure. The wife, our dust on our floors is brutal. I don't like the air conditioning on and she won't have it off. So we need it fixed
Yeah.
ASAP. I don't know. It's been a couple years. I think you guys already got paid out for it. Pretty sure. To me, it's not a big deal. My boss asked me to do a job, I get it done. I'm asking you guys to do a job, let's get it done. That's all I can say.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for your comments.
Thank
Thank you, Paul. Okay. Anyone else in the gallery?
I'm Jim Greenwood. I live on Elko Road, just a few houses down from Paul. The road is in dire need of resurfacing. We were supposed to have it done following the turbine construction. We've had to put up with that for years as non-willing hosts. Safety-wise, I'm a farmer. I drive down that road. So when it's dry, the dust is so bad. I have to pull over and stop because I can't see. And there's kids running around. My neighbors have kids. I have kids. The dust at the house, like Paul was saying, I collect rainwater for drinking and use in the house. I'm buying between $100 and $200 worth of filters every month because my roof is covered in dust constantly. Everything outside my house is covered in dust. I power wash my deck a few times a month. I used to do it once a year. It's just costing me more money, and it's unsafe. So it just something needs to be done.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Hello there.
Hi, my name is Julie Webster. I live at 5364 Elko Road.
Sorry, Julie Webster?
Julie.
Julie Webster.
Yeah.
Okay.
The dust is terrible. I enjoy walking my dogs down Elko Road. I'm afraid to walk them now. I have 2 chocolate labs. I'm afraid to have my son walk them. You walk down the road, you get dust thrown in your face, you get the stones. The cars are really close. I'm afraid we're going to get hit. So it needs to be fixed.
Okay.
Please.
Did you get the address? Okay.
Kathy Swain, 5306 Elko Road. Yeah, road's bad, really bad. Can't hang the laundry out, can't have the windows open. Accidents, we had an accident that took out our hay wagon that we had out for sale and our maple tree because they were sliding on the stones. Can't walk It was bad enough when it was the Y shape, and now with the stones, and like she said, the dust and the stones flying at you, I mean, it's just brutal. We can't have the windows, he's got a condition that he likes the windows open. I have to have them shut, because unless they're starting to pay for a maid, you could write your name on my floors. I have those windows open, that's how bad it is. It's like a cloud. You might as well have let off the atomic bomb sometimes when stuff's going down the road, it's so bad. They calciumed it once, but that maybe lasted a few weeks, and it's back to dust balls.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Okay. Seeing no other speakers, we'll move on to tonight's agenda. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. We have them written down, and we are listening to them. We will move on now to 6, appointments and presentations, and so this will be under 13U. The CEO of the West Lincoln Township Library, Miss Vanessa Holm, I believe, is doing a presentation tonight. Let me just see here, 13U, I know that, but I'm trying to find it on the TUV. Okay, so CEO, West Lincoln Public Library, Vanessa Holm, Wellandport Library Project, approval of architectural plans. She's here to give us a verbal update. And also is Mr. Hank Utima in the audience here tonight too as well. So Vanessa, it's all yours.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Joyner, Council, and Gallery. I'm very happy to be here tonight to present to you the designs for the Wellandport Library and Hall Improvement Project. After consultation with library staff, the ad hoc committee and the library board, the following model, which I'm going to show, is the final design, which was approved by the library board on July 18th. So if we can just put it up on the screen. Okay.
Is this the 3D presentation, Ms. Holm?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Mayor Joyner.
Oh, you want some Mozart? Okay, very nice. Okay. Is there a motion, resolution? I believe there is. Let me see here. Councilor Belsma, you have a resolution to put on the floor?
Okay. Yes. Probably. There we go. I got it. Moved by myself and seconded by, I think that's Councilor Rayner. That the drawings for the improvement of Wellandport Library Community Center submitted by Grace Wang of Envisage Architects, Inc. be accepted and approved, and that CAOB is hereby directed to forward this motion to West Lincoln Township Council immediate prior to ratification of these minutes.
Councilors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councilor Belsma, second by Councilor Rayner. Questions or comments? And before that, I think the acting CAO wants to say something.
Just to go through process for you this evening, because this building belongs to the township, the library board has approved the concept plan, but it comes before you to confirm approval so that we can move forward with the construction. So we're on a tight schedule, and we fast-tracked this motion to you so that you could have a look at the plans that they've approved and go ahead and approve it so we can get the tender out.
Okay, questions or comments about the design? Councilor Rayner?
Just that I thought that was a very nice presentation on the building crew. It's very nice.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Belsma?
I just wanted to say two things. First of all, I think it was set up in such a way that we would get the most bang for our buck. So in many ways, it's a good value. And the second thing that I wanted to say was there was some discussion and input, and the changes I saw already recognized in the final plan. So appreciate the opportunity for the input at the ad hoc level, and kudos to the architect for implementing that right away. So very good working relationship.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Belsma. Any other questions or comments? Councilor Chichak?
I know we have a big agenda tonight, but I do want to thank the library board for the time that they've put into this outside of anything that any of the ad hoc committees or whatever have done. We've just added a few comments, but truly the library board has turned their mind to this, and both the current staff and previous staff have always have reminded councils before and now that this library, this facility is a very important attribute to that community and to all the way up to Boyle, et cetera. And I know how well it's used, and I'm sure that the community of West Lincoln will truly benefit from what it is we're seeing now. And congratulations again for that grant that certainly is making this a possibility, this possibility a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions. Belsma, I wasn't able to see some of the things I wanted to see on there, but I'm not asking you to go back in there and just give me the answers would suffice, actually. The door to the meeting room from the outside, was it in place? Yeah, it's there? Okay, great. That's all I need to know. The door to the hall still in place to go along with the chairs?
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, yes.
And when we added the coat rack, did we put that in the vestibule? Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, in the last little part of the video, before I paused it, they did a brief circle around the building, and through
Right.
the window, you could see the coat rack and everything in the vestibule.
Okay, good. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was
No, it was just, you had to watch for a split
enchanted.
second.
Yeah. And the next question is, the vestibule there, is it still double doors or single door?
It's double door,
Still double
Mr.
doors.
Mayor.
Okay, that's all my questions. No other comments or questions? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll move back to the beginning here again. Moving into confirmation of minutes, council minutes regular, June 26, 2017. Confidential minutes under separate cover. Councilor Chichuk, you have that. Councilors, we're going to fly through this section, so let's be prepared, please.
Seconded by Councillor Trombetta, that the minutes of the open session portion of June 26 regular council meeting be accepted, the confidential minutes relating to the closed session portion of the June 26 meeting, regular council meeting be accepted, and that the minutes remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with exemptions provided by the Municipal Freedom of Information and Privacy Act. Amen.
Very good. Councilors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councilor Chichuk, second by Councilor Trombetta. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, council minutes, special council, July 4, 2017. Confidential minutes are under separate cover. Councillor Chichuk, you have that too.
I do, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Rayner that the minutes, sorry for cutting you off, Mr. Mayor, but there's no time. The minutes of the open session portion of the July 4th special council meeting be accepted, that the confidential minutes relating to the closed section portion of the July 4th special council meeting be accepted, and the minutes remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information Protection and Privacy Act.
Councillors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councillor Councillor Chichuk, and seconded by Councillor Rayner. Is there any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, C, council minutes, special council, July 17, 2017. Confidential minutes under separate cover. Councillor Rayner, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Terry Bell that the minutes of the open session portion of July 17, 2017 special council meeting be accepted, and that the confidential minutes relating to the closed session portion of the July 17, 2017 special council meeting be accepted, and that the minutes remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act.
Councillors, you've heard that resolution moved by Councillor Rayner and seconded by Councillor Terry Bell. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we'll move on to communications. A, Candace Mitchell, General Manager of Archangel Fireworks Incorporated. Permission for fireworks display for Customer Appreciation Day, August 20th, 2017. Councillor Trembetta, you have that resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Bell that the request received from Candace Mitchell, General Manager of Archangel Fireworks, Inc., on behalf of their client Richard International Limited, to host a fireworks display in conjunction with our client's Customer Appreciation Day on August 20th, 2017 at the West Niagara Fairgrounds located on 7402 Mud Street, Weston Grassy, Ontario, be approved subject to the fire chief providing approval and submission of appropriate insurance coverage for the event.
Councillors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councillor Trembetta and seconded by Councillor Terry Bell. Comments or questions? I have one quick one. Is through to Fire Chief. Is the Candace Mitchell, General Manager of Archangel Fireworks, is that company located here in West Lincoln? Are they a West Lincoln company? Okay. Seeing no more comments or questions, I will call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Do you know where they're from, Chief Fisher? Winnipeg. Okay, thank you. Region of Niagara Intermunicipal Transit IMT Phase 2 update, triple majority, and next steps. Appointment of staff representation for IMT working group. Councillor Bell, you have that resolution, please.
I do. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Trembetta, that the Director of Public Works and Engineering or designate be appointed to the Niagara Region Intermunicipal Transit Working Group.
Councillors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councillor Bell and seconded by Councillor Trembetta. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that is carried. Good luck, Mr. Julian. He's not in the room right now, but he will be later. Dave McLaren, I think that's how you say it. President McLaren Trucking and Fleet Service, request for special reduction, Hamlet of Silverdale. Councillor Balsma, you have that resolution, please.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Bell that the correspondence received from Dave McLaren, President of McLaren Trucking and Fleet Service on July 10, 2017 regarding his request for a speed limit reduction within the Hamlet of Silverdale be received and referred to staff for report.
Councillors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councillor Balsma and seconded by Councillor Bell. Is there any comments or questions? So my comment would be, Councillor Balsma, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but is it going down to 50?
I don't know what the question is.
We're waiting for the report to come back. Is that right? Okay, thank you. Call the vote. All those in favor? Thank you. Carried.
It's 80 through there, right? It's 80 through there.
Yeah, it's 80 through there, right? Yeah.
80 right through.
Okay. Councillor Mike Rayner, reappointment to Peninsula West Power Incorporated. Councillor Chichuk, you have that resolution, please.
I do. Mr. Mayor, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Trombetta, that the Council of the Township of West Lincoln hereby nominates Councillor Mike Rayner for the appointment to the Board of Peninsula West Power, Inc. for an additional one-year term from January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2018.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillors, you've heard the resolution. Moved by Councillor Chichuk and seconded by Councillor, I can't read that.
Jason Trombetta.
Councillor Trombetta.
Sorry.
Any comments or questions? Yeah, Councillor Trombetta.
Just want to say, Councilor Rayner's done a good job, but for 3 years, I said give him another year is not an issue on my standpoint. Just keep the power on, Councilor Rayner.
Power on. Power on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Bosman.
The reason this comes up is because they have 3-year terms and we have now 4-year terms. Is there a way that we could just get these synced so that we don't have to do this? Is that anything that we can recommend to them? I don't know, because we're going to do this every term in the 3rd year.
I have an answer, but I don't have an answer. So we've been asking Brian Walker for a while to be able to do this, and there is a reason why we can't do it, and I don't understand. I can't remember what it is.
It
but
just
I think
seems
has
practical, but doesn't.
Do you know, Madam? I was going to call you Madam Clerk / interim CAO.
Through you, I believe, my understanding is that the Corporations Act requires 3-year terms.
That's it, yes, Corporations Act. Councillor Rayner?
Mr. Walker said it's a Corporation Act that requires this. It's unfortunate because when you're into this every year, you know what's going on as the mayor does, and you follow it through, and then all of a sudden, because of this Corporation Act, the last year falls out of place. It happens every time. And we can't change it. The reason it used to be okay in the past was because, like my first term in 2003, it was for 3 years. And then the province changed the councillors from the municipalities in Ontario to have 4-year terms. And that's what threw this thing all out of sync, because the corporations didn't follow that. So it requires, and I believe Councillor Chichuk, we just did that for her a couple months ago with the NPEI. Same situation.
Okay, hearing that, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to the mayor's remarks. I apologize, I haven't had a chance to write them out, but I will just try and tell councillors and the gallery. What I would like to speak about is the fact that last Thursday at a regional council meeting, I asked all of regional council for another regional representative. And the vote was carried 15-10. Obviously, there were some comments that were made for and against, and some people just wanted to talk about the whole process and, why West Lincoln should deserve another regional councillor. I'll tell you that the process is that now that it has passed, the clerk of the Niagara region will be sending a letter to the Minister of Municipal Affairs. He has to give it his endorsement, and then he sends it back to regional council, and then the clerk of regional council will set up a public meeting. There has to be a minimum of 1 public meeting, as it states in the Planning Act. And then once we have that meeting and receive questions and comments, it will then go back to all of the 12 municipalities and the region again for a triple majority vote. We are hoping to get this all done by December 31st. That is a very, very lofty goal. I've said in the paper that come hell or high water, I'm getting this done. So I might be asking for some councillors to help me do some lobbying all across Niagara to go and talk with your fellow municipal councillors in all 12 municipalities to get us through this process. If we are not successful before December 31st, we will continue on, and then we will hope that we can get this in place for the 2022 municipal election. Questions or comments? Councillor Rayner?
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I have 2 questions. Number 1, it used to be based on population, did it not? I thought it was like 15,000 at first, and then I thought it was raised to 20 or something, but it was first based, you had to have a certain number in order to be eligible for an extra regional council. Is that not correct?
That is not correct. We all thought that, and actually that was the justification that Pelham used. They were the last municipality to get their second regional representative. But actually, there is nowhere in policy and procedure at the Niagara region that says that once you reach a certain threshold, you automatically get a second councillor. Although I am like you, Councillor Rayner, I thought that to be true. I've thought a few things to be true at the region, like the mayor of West Lincoln and Wainfleet could run for regional chair, and that's not true either. But it took a team of 4 legal people at the region to figure that out and come out and tell me that is not possible. So, second question?
Good, thank you. The second question is, are there any other municipalities in the region of Niagara that are also vying for an extra regional councillor at this time? In other words, are we pairing up with anybody else to try to help to go this through, or are we doing this on our own?
So the opportunity was for another municipality or any one of the 12 municipalities to ask for representation by population. So, you know, St. Catharines could have asked for another one, Niagara Falls, Welland, or Wainfleet could have asked for their second representative too as well. At this particular time, we are the only municipality that is asking for an additional regional rep. As you know, though, that St. Catharines did put through the double duty, asked for the double duty direct councillors not so long ago, about 5 or 6 months, and it actually passed triple majority, and then when it went back to St. Catharines City Council, it was defeated. Yeah. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in the world. But that's the latest. That's what's happened with councillors. And this is all transpired because Municipal Affairs has brought through a bill called Bill 68. And what it basically, there's many different details. Details are in the devil. In Bill 68, but one of them is the fact that now local governments will be given a chance to make the compilation, that's not the word, the composition of their government. So they now have it in their power to do that. But in saying that, you still have to get some kind of written response from the Minister of Affairs to go forward. Anything else?
How long before you hear from them?
I have said that I am going to hand deliver this letter to him at AMO in Ottawa in order to kickstart this process, because I know that they don't come back into the legislature until sometime in September. So I want that in his hands or even his deputy so that they can start working on this. My intentions are, if I could get a letter back from, let's say, the middle of October from the minister, that I can then get it to the regional clerk. We can start with the public meeting and then start to lobby all municipalities for the triple majority vote. What's that?
Very fine timeline. If you expect to get that done by the 31st of December.
Yeah, and that's why I'm said I might be asking for council's help to go to different municipalities. We'll divvy them up and try to tackle it that way. Okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Chichuk?
Mr. Mayor, the region has no problem with double direct from St. Catharines, and then they, as you pointed out, they were the
Bless
ones
you.
who rejected it when it came back. I just find it that if we were as successful in this election to get a second representative, the double direct makes a lot of sense. In the meeting you set up with us, and I thank you publicly for that with Councillor Quirk, it was obvious that regional councillors in Niagara have a very tough row to hoe because they don't have a formal place at their own municipality to sit and gather information. So, I mean, having a second regional representative is great, but they are not part of your local council, which makes it really difficult for them to take the appropriate actions. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it'd be great to go to that second person and a double direct. That's all.
Yeah, that's another, fly in the ointment, that's for sure. You could go that way too as well. But to your statement, not every regional councillor doesn't sit at their own municipal councillors. In some municipalities, I'll be honest and straightforward and blunt, they're not welcomed for whatever reason. In other municipalities, they have an actual place right at the horseshoe like we're sitting here. So I think it'll be up to this particular council to figure out how we want to relate with the regional councillor if we actually get that far.
And that's my point, Mr. Mayor. It's important that if we're getting a second voice, that they hear what it is that's happening out in our community and what the council has tried to convey. And it unburdens the mayor's role at regional council, because you can't be at every regional council meeting. And it's just, that's all. That's my point is, go for it, go forward, and if I can do anything to help, I will.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions or comments? Okay, those are my mayor's remarks for the month of July. Let's go forward with this, and hopefully we can get it done by December 31st. It's a lofty goal. Report of committee, the definition for reconsideration is there, and usually there's another definition. There it is, definition for notice of motion to rescind. Tucked in here, we've got, and it's because it's under reconsideration, 11A, Councillor Terry Bell, a reconsideration of motion to defer amendment to budget report RFD PW 23-2017. This is the Road and Bridge Restoration Plan amendment to budget to the October 16, 2000 and Public Works Recreation Arena Committee meeting. And Councillor Bell, you have that resolution. Before you do, I just want to read the note. It says amendment to budget, recommendation report RFD PW 23-217 Road and Bridge Restoration Plan. Amendment to budget is attached for the information purposes in case reconsideration is successful. Madam Clerk, would you like to speak to that, or Madam Interim CAO?
Through you, members of council, just to go through this process procedurally. If the motion to reconsider the deferral is approved, then the second motion we have to deal with is the deferral again. If council wishes to deal with the report about the roads, the deferral should be lost, at which point then we would put the third motion on the floor, which would be the original motion from the report, and then there is, I understand, an amendment. So part one is reconsideration. If it's approved, part two is put the deferral back on, lose it. Part three, put the report on, consider it, and possibly amend it. And that was just so that you would understand the process we anticipate this evening.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. I will now go to Councillor Bell, who has the resolution for reconsideration. Councillor?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Trombetta, that the motion to defer report RFD PW-23-2017 Road and Bridge Restoration Plan Amendment to Budget, which was adopted at June 26, 2017 council meeting, be reconsidered.
Councilors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councillor Bell and seconded by Councillor Trombetta. Comments and questions? Councillor Trombetta?
Should I maybe remove Madam Clerk, should I remove myself as being the seconder for there, or that's okay, Madam Clerk? Just because I was not in the majority for the consideration, right? So,
Madam Clerk.
Through you to members of
Acting
council,
CAO.
the motion to reconsider has to be put forward by a person that voted in the majority, but the seconder does not have to be.
oh, okay, good. That's all.
That's a good question, because I didn't know that. So I just learned something tonight. That's good. Councillor Chichuk?
Yeah, thank you. Keep from me.
As a courtesy, before we go through all this, can we see a copy of the resolution that's going to be put forward? Because it would make it a lot simpler and a lot smoother. I'd asked for that when this all happened, and I just want to see what the amendment is going to be so that we don't lose this or stay with this resolution and we'll all be on the same page, because it appears that some members of council are aware of what the amendment is going to be. So if we could take a moment now to read it, we might be able to just do this very smoothly and quickly.
Madam CAO?
Through you to members of council, first of all, we should vote whether we're going to reconsider this or not. I don't think we voted on that. And once we do that, if you would like me to go get copies of the amendment that's going to be proposed, I can do that. The original motion from the report is in your new revised agenda.
We have it.
So if you would like to deal with the reconsideration, I can just scoot out and get a copy of the amendment for everybody.
Okay, so we actually can't do anything or go forward, though, until we have the motion to reconsider the deferral, right?
Mr. Mayor, the point is that reconsideration might be better. I would be able to vote more freely if I knew that the recommendation.
I understand, Councillor, fully what you're asking for. I'm just saying procedurally, I'm not sure we can go there. I'm asking the clerk to see. She did say that she was going to go and do copies for everybody, but she did also say that the motion to reconsider the deferral had to be voted on first. Did you not say that, Madam CAO? So I understand where you want to go, Councillor. I get it.
I'd like to vote in favor of reconsideration, but I'd like to see the amendment.
Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be able to do that. You have to.
That's not what the clerk is saying.
I think she is, Madam Clerk, or Madam CAO. Say it again, please.
If you would like to pause for a moment, I can get copies. But before we proceed, we have to address the reconsideration.
Right, so you can go get the copies right now, just for clarity. You can get the copies, and then we can put the motion for reconsideration. That's what she's saying. She just left.
But if it's defeated, then what's the point of the amendment?
I would like to vote in favor.
But I'm just saying, asking, but if it's defeated, the reconsideration is defeated, because obviously it's two members of council can't vote on this reconsideration.
Yes, no, we can.
Oh, we can?
Yeah, yeah, everybody can.
You can't bring it
But I'm
back.
just saying, if it's defeated, then there's no purpose of the amendment.
That's correct.
So then this has to be done first, prior to anything else, correct?
The motion for reconsideration has to be tabled first in order for anybody to see anything about what the clerk just said, interim CAO. Councillor Bell.
Through you, Mayor Joyner.
She already read it.
I'm pretty simple. This is a very simple thing. All you want to do is put it back on the table and discuss it. So either you're in favor of it or you're not. If you're not in favor of it, very simply put, it's going to wait until October.
Yeah.
It's that simple. So I don't see why we have to leave what it is first. I mean, let's get it on the table. And you can talk about it till all night if you want. I'm good. I'm off tomorrow, so.
Councillor Belzman.
Well, so I agree with what Councillor Bell has said, and that is that if we don't deal with this tonight, if we don't reconsider, it will still come up in October. So this is not a question of dying, it's just a question of dealing with it today as opposed to in October.
Yeah.
Sooner than later.
I'm opposed
I know what she's
to reconsidering it because I don't see the conditions
I know he's going to vote against.
for deferring it as we did changed. The reason we deferred is because we wanted to have a fulsome discussion at a Public Works meeting where the public could, at a Public Works Committee meeting where the public could voice concerns. And here we are at this, one of these kind of funny summer meetings. It's kind of a council and committees all joined together, and it's done for the expediency of the summer season. So that hasn't changed, and that was one of the reasons we all decided to defer, to have that fulsome discussion. So we can't have that here. So the deferral, in my opinion, should stay till we can have that fulsome discussion. So I'm not in favor of reconsidering. The second condition was and it was alluded to, that there may be amendments here tonight, and that was really the precipitator of deferring this, was the staff report came forward with a list of recommendations, and then there was almost immediately a very big amendment proposed. There was almost there was a very big amendment proposed at that point, which stimulated a very vigorous discussion, which wasn't going to be resolved at any time soon. And I've heard that the intention is of it was mentioned just briefly by the acting CAO, that amendment is still planning to come forward at this time. And so for that reason as well, so those are two reasons why we originally deferred that are still in the works and why we shouldn't defer. So we shouldn't reconsider this. Thank you.
So I just want to get this straight. So if you're not in favor of the deferral,
I'm
then
opposed to the reconsideration.
you're opposed to the reconsideration, which means nothing could possibly get done this year.
No,
Is that what you're
wrong.
saying?
Wrong. Let me just back up, because you said that, I think wrong, but I think you meant the right thing. I'm opposed to the reconsideration because I'm in favor of the deferral. Yeah. Right.
So still in essence, and what I'm saying here is, so the next time we were going to talk about it, I think it was in the report, it said we were going to talk about it in October 16th.
Yes.
Which means that it'll go to the end of October for a council meeting, which means that November could possibly be the RFP, but you won't want to do anything in December or January anyway, because that's the winter months.
I at first, so my first time speaking of this is dealing with the reconsideration. If we decide to reconsider it here this evening, I will have a new list of reasons why I still think we should defer it to October. And then that might still, as the acting CAO has said, still might be supported, not lost, in which case it'll still go to October 16th.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Hold on. So quickly, Councilor Bell, because you just spoke to this. So
I need to understand this. So what you're really saying is you want to put this off till October, all road work won't take place till next spring.
Yes.
Is
That's
that-
what you're saying.
Yes.
So I need to be yes or no.
My understanding is not all road work, because there's road work that is in the 2017 budget that we are obligated to do.
We're not talking about that, though.
That's correct.
We're talking about the road work that we have to do that was ripped up by the industrial wind turbine proponents. That's what we're talking about.
Yes, so, in effect, yes.
You don't want anything to happen until springtime.
Well, no, that's not necessarily what I'm saying.
You don't need a point of order. Let me let me help you out,
Yeah,
Counselor.
no,
Here, I'm just all I'm
my
doing is
confusion-
I know. So let me help you with the timelines here. So if you don't want to have this come back, okay, until October 16th, whatever happens at the Public Works meeting at October 16th will then go to the council meeting, and I don't know when that is, but it's probably towards the end of October. So say that we do go forward, we have to put out a tender. So that'll take up all of November. Usually the asphalt plants close the first week of December. No work will get done in the year of 2017. Do you understand the timeline?
So let me respond to that briefly, because there are 4 layers here that we're discussing, maybe a little bit out of order. But the original motion presented by staff, I was fine with. Okay? It was the amendment that was proposed that really compelled us to defer.
That's
That was-
right.
Okay. So my concern, I will go through this, we can go through this process, and if the original motion as presented by staff is the one that we approve, but I can't guarantee that. So at this point, I'm saying, because I've heard a little brief reference to the fact that there's an amendment to the original motion, I'm thinking to myself that why bother then?
Okay,
and
so-
so I talked about those 2 conditions.
Okay, so I get it. So I'm going to say 2 things. 1, trust the process. 2, while everybody is asking their questions, you've got interim CEO just handed out the amendment. Give it a quick read right now as we speak, okay? And that might ease some of your concerns. Okay, sir? Who do I have on this side? Councilor Rayner.
Thank you. First of all, let's clarify the reconsideration thing through you to the acting CAO. Reconsideration can only be brought up by a member of the majority of the previous time when that was voted on.
That's correct.
But once it's brought up, all of council can then vote.
That's correct.
Okay, because in this particular situation that happened before, when this amendment came up, I mentioned quite clearly that if this is delayed till October, there will be no roads done in the township of West Lincoln in 2017, because according to Councillor Trombetta, who knows all about asphalt work, he does it for a living, apparently they will close November the 15th. So that means nothing is going to be done this year. I mentioned that, and yet council still went ahead and went for October, and Councillor Trombetta and I were the ones who said, we're not supporting this. Now it's brought back for reconsideration. Tonight, in front of council, we had, I believe, 4 representatives from Elko Road alone, which I believe is in Ward 2, that are crying that their roads are absolutely terrible right now. This is a situation now to bring this back for reconsideration, to look at all the roads, especially the roads that are brought to the attention of us tonight, which the mayor himself said, we are listening. And here's the situation now where we can bring this back and we can make this part of the discussion through you, Mr. Mayor, to the Director of Public Works. Is Elko Road on the map to be done in the near future?
Sorry, I don't understand that question, Councilor.
What I want to know is, we've had a large contingency from Elko Road saying it's a disaster, we waited long enough, can we get it done? Is it part of,
It's part of the attachment A.
it's part of the attachment? So, this is for this year. So, if,
That's not for this year or the years aren't stipulated there.
Okay,
That's
well,
part of the
okay.
roads that
Mr.
staff
Mayor,
has been figured out what has to be
through you
done.
to the director then,
Yeah.
when could Elko Road be done? If tonight, part of the consideration process, if the reconsideration is accepted and we go through the process tonight, which Councillor Billsman wanted to defer, but if we go through it tonight, could Elko Road possibly be put on to be done in 2017?
I know the answer to that, Mr. Julian, but go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councilor Rayner. There is a possibility that it could be done. It's subject to the tendering process and the scheduling of the contractors and their work, that their availability.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That is why when I said last month, if we defer this, we're going to lose it. Our director is saying, if we bring this back, we still have time to get these projects done. This is an opportunity to address people who have taken the time to come here, to make it clear to them that they've had enough of this. This is our opportunity to do it. To defer this would be neglecting our responsibilities of looking after the people who elected us. So I would like to bring this reconsideration back, because this is in Ward 2. There's other projects that need to be done in Ward 2 and in Ward 1. Let's bring this thing back tonight. Let's see what we can afford to do, and let's get something done in 2017, because doing nothing and deferring to October is accomplishing absolutely nothing. It's wasting everybody's time. It's wasting everybody's money. We're here to get a job done. Let's get this job done.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Trombetta?
I agree that me and myself, Councillor Rayner, we wanted to get this going now. If you don't get this going now, or like Councillor Bosma said over there, if we want to delay it till October, you're not going to get nothing done. And the residents are going to have to live with this for another year, if not more. So by reconsidering this now, we get some roads done. I'm not going to speak just off the cuff. If you don't do this now, reconsider this now, Elko Road is not getting done for at least another year, if it gets done. By the time it goes out to tender and this gets passed, you're not going to get it done. If this gets reconsidered now, there's a chance that something
Gotcha.
is going to happen this year. It'll go to tender, we'll get our prices back, and then the wheels can start turning to get stuff done, under this road use agreement fund. Mr. Mayor, through you, and our director can maybe back me up if I'm correct here. If we delay it till October, process is, like Mr. Mayor said, it goes to council. Once it goes to council, then our director has to put everything together, put it out for November. By the time the tenders are back, you're looking about three weeks maybe, and now we're rolling into Christmas. So what's that tell you? Nothing's going to get done. It's Christmas time. So then, obviously, you're going to have that shutdown, and what happens, you're going to have to roll it out in March or May. What this reconsideration that this Councillor Bell had proposed is that if we don't do it today, I'll say today, it's not happening. So I don't understand where Councillor Bosma is coming from. I don't know why he wants it delayed. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if he doesn't want the roads done, but I don't understand. So I leave it with you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Chichuk, and then we're going to vote.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I really do believe that, we took a sober second look at what it was that wanted to happen, and I commend Councillor Trombetta for taking that time and certainly spending time with me and others. And thank you, Councillor Bell, for putting it back on the table. We postponed it till October. That was just to postpone it to give us that sober second thought. Tonight, bringing it back was the appropriate thing. You've heard from people that Elko Road can't be left. And what we have here before us is an amendment that talks the way we should talk, which is what the point I was making last time we met. And that is, it isn't about award, it's about doing what's right. And it's about negotiating in good faith and taking the money for the roads that were supposed to be fixed and getting them done as soon as we possibly can. We heard all that tonight, and I believe that that's what we're trying to do, is work as a team to get this done and to do it right and not worry about where the money's coming from. So I'm all for the reconsideration.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Trombetta, quickly.
And then if this is reconsidered, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to speak to the amendment, and I'd like to speak to, if it is reconsideration,
Yep.
the amendment that I talked, I'd like to speak to it.
I've got, here's my list, folks. Number 1, motion to reconsider deferral. Number 2, deferral motion must be lost if you want to talk about it more. Number 3, motion from report, because we have to then go back and talk about the original report that was on there, which includes attachment A, all of the roads. And then 4 is the amendment to the main motion, if there is one, and I know that there is. So, okay, I will now call the vote for that the motion to defer report RFD PW 23 2017 Road and Bridge Restoration Plan amendment to budget, which was adopted at the June 26, 2017 council meeting, be reconsidered. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Okay, the next one is the deferral motion, and again, I'm going to be very blunt here. We want to make this lost. Who has that?
Do I have that?
What number is it, though?
Terry, do you have the, Councillor Bell, do you have the motion to deferral motion?
I don't have it.
Okay, Councillor Bell, go ahead. Put on your mic, sir, please.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Trombetta that the deliberations relating to RFD PW-23-2017 Road and Bridge Restoration Plan Amendment to Bridge be deferred to the October 16th, 2017 Public Works Recreation Arena Committee meeting.
Councilors, you've heard the motion. Moved by Councillor Bell, second by Councillor Trombetta. Comments or questions? Seeing none. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Balsma.
So I wanted to just speak briefly about, after I spoke, I did get this. So Councillor Chichok was wise in making sure we had this in our hands so we understood what we were all talking about.
I agree. I just wanted to do the motion to reconsider first. That's
Well,
all.
and that's partly the reason why I changed my, if people in the gallery are wondering, and the people around the horseshoe are wondering. In terms of the deferring, and so I would like to just briefly touch on a comment that was made by Councillor Trombetta, that somehow he's making me be the guy that's throwing the horseshoe, the wrench in the cog, so to speak, to stall this. And as I stated earlier, the original staff report was a fine report, and it was the amendment that he put forward that really got the ire up. And if anybody wants to review that, it's on the public tape. The amendment that he's putting forward today is very different, so I appreciate the movement in what I would consider the right direction.
Okay.
So, but I do have this. I don't know. Let me just think for a second. In terms of deferment, one of the realities that I think that we do exist in is the fact that we do not have a signed check to back this up.
Are you sure of that, Councillor?
I haven't heard otherwise. I know that we've had an agreement in principle, and we have another agreement in principle that I haven't seen any or heard, because I've been requesting whether or not we've received money, say, from the.
Okay, let's get
things.
an answer for you from the interim CAO.
Okay.
Through you, members of council, it is expected shortly, and obviously the work will not commence. So we positively have it.
See, there we go. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that we have money in the bank, because if we decide to go ahead with this, but we don't receive the compensation that we're supposed to for roads like Elko, then it's on the township to do this, and I'd hate to see that, or it still might have to wait, and that's not a fault of our own, but the fault of the wind company.
That's not good business, Councillor. We would never do that.
Good.
We would never start a job without money in the bank.
There we go, and so that answers my question.
Okay. All right. So the deliberations relating to report RFD PW 23-2017 Road and Bridge Restoration Plan Amendment to Budget be deferred to the October 16, 2017 Public Works Recreation Arena Committee meeting. Remember what I said earlier? All those in favor? And that is lost. Thank you. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the motion from the report. And who has that, Madam Clerk? Councillor Bell. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Rayner. Amendment to budget. The report RFDW-23-2017 Re-Road Bridge Restoration Plan Agreement. The budget dated June 26, 2017 be received, and the council approved the road restoration works as shown in attachment A of this report at a cost of $5,274,702 to be funded from the Wind Energy Road Restoration Funding, and the council authorized staff to provide $150,000 allocation for staff and assistants to be funded from the Wind Energy Road Restoration funding, and the council approve additional funding to be allocated to bridge restoration works to Bridge 29 south of Chippewa Road in the amount of $585,000 for rehabilitation of the bridge deck and railing system from the Wind Energy Road Restoration funding.
Councilors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councilor Bell and second by Councilor Rayner. Now, councilors, I want you to know that this is the original report. This is what we're talking about. Nothing has changed. It's the original report that you saw on that day going back in June. Comments or questions? And it has nothing to do with anybody's amendment here. This is just an amendment to budget. This is not any one councilor's amendment. I see Councilor Trombetta, then Councilor
I have an
Rayner.
amendment to that report, Mr. Mayor. Is this now the time to bring that amendment forward, or would you like to talk about comments and questions first?
I'd like to talk about comments and questions first. I will know that you want to make an amendment to that, but let's do comments and questions to the original motion. Okay, you're right, madam, you're right.
Thank you,
Councilor
Mr.
Trombetta,
Mayor.
go ahead with your amendment, please.
Moved
You're
by
right.
myself and seconded by Councilor Rayner, that the recommendation contained in report RFD PW 2317 Road Bridge Restoration Plan amendment to budget be amended to add the following new sections.
Section 5.
Section 5. That the following budget amounts that were allocated in 2008 Capital Works Program from the works undertaken approved through report RFD PW 2317 Road and Bridge Restoration Plan amendment to budget be reallocated in the 2018 budget road repair construction projects for Ward 1. Port Davidson Road from 16 Road to Concession 4, Port Davidson Road from Concession 4 to Regional Road 65, Port Davidson Road from Regional Road 65 to Vaughan Road, South Chippewa Road from Caser Gainsborough Town Line Road to Church Road. And I'd like to speak to this, to make some clarification for members of the committee and the gallery about, because it does sound, when it's coming off my tongue, that it sounds very confusing, so I'd like to explain to it.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor.
So,
Yeah, Councilor Rayner was the seconder. Yeah, thank you. Go ahead, Councilor Trombetta.
So, we came together to try to work something out for all the communities that were affected by turbines. I put an amendment forward because last time I found that we weren't all being considered as a community for the effect of the turbines. So I put an amendment forward, because if it would have went the way it went before, it wouldn't have, like I said, it wouldn't have, hold on one second. It wouldn't have considered all the rest of the community. It would only just, you know what I mean, it'd just be one area, and we're trying to look at ways we can help the whole community as a whole. So the amendment that was put forward, I did some dialogue. I put forward this new amendment, which this new amendment is taking the money that was in the capital budget, not the money from the road use agreement. The money that was in the capital budget that was slated for that ward, all I'm doing is moving it to Ward 1. The same stuff that is on that amendment, Mr. Mayor, is the stuff that's already falling under the umbrella of the road use agreement. So all I've done now is saying, so this stuff's already getting done under this road use agreement. All I've done is taking that and saying, let's bring it to Ward 1, where other areas were affected by the turbines. It's not losing anything in Ward 2. Ward 2 is not getting affected by anything. All it's doing is taking that fund that was already slated, because if we never got this road use agreement fund, those things would have been done in Ward 2. So now all I'm doing is taking that surplus and bringing it to Ward 1. That's all I'm doing, Mr. Mayor. So that's what I put that amendment forward. If I'll let my colleagues around the table speak if they want to. I just wanted to show that that there's also, like I said, roads that needed to be looked at that were affected by turbines in other wards. So that's why I put that forward, Mr. Mayor. And I'm quite sure my colleagues around the horseshoe would like to have some further dialogue on this, and I'll speak to it if someone needs me to speak to, or maybe I'll speak again. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Rayner, then Councilor Chichuk.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Further to what Councilor Trombetta said, what we've got basically right now is a duplication. We've got the turbine fund that would cover the damage that was done, and we've also got a 10-year capital that covers a lot of that same thing again. So what we're trying to do is, we've also had some damage in Ward 1 caused by the turbines that were originally built before the other ones were built, the majority of which went in Ward 2. So what we're trying to do now is to move the money out from there, although nothing is affected or changed with the projects that were intended to be done and the roads that were damaged by the turbines in Ward 2. All we're saying is there a duplication of funds, either through the turbines or through the capital. And what we want to do then is just take the money out so that the money that's extra, because you're not going to do the road twice.
No.
So you take the money out, and we now defer it to areas in the township of West Lincoln, which in this case is Ward 1, which has had roads damaged when they did the turbines back a few years ago. So now we're allocating to get some of that done too. So what we're trying to do is get something done everywhere, and we're trying to get it done in 2017. That's why Councillor Trombetta and I were against the deferral to October. We don't want to lose a year. The more we can get done means the more we can also get done next year. And with the people coming here tonight making it clear that they've really had enough, it's the right time to start letting the people see that we are looking after their money appropriately and we're getting the things done that are important to them. And what's important to a lot of people who live out in the country is safe transportation. And right now, those roads are a mess and they're dangerous. They mentioned clearly the dust is so bad, one gentleman has to stop his tractor. He's afraid he's going to run over kids. I mean, that's how bad it's getting. How bad does it have to get till somebody gets killed or hurt? We don't want to do that. Our responsibility is to look after the best interests of the township, and that's why we were elected. The money's available. The timing is right. We're at the right time of the year to get this done. We've got time to get it done before the asphalt plants close in November, so let's start moving on it. So everything on this is starting to gel. I feel very comfortable with this. I feel very comfortable with what Councillor Trombetta has brought forward. It certainly spreads the money around the wards, and it deals with critical roads that need to be addressed now, not next year.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Chichuk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Virtually, I echo everything that was being said, and that little rubber thing. What this revision to this motion does is it maintains the integrity of the negotiations that happened with the wind turbine people. And you're right, we don't want to fix anybody's road twice. That's the point I was trying to make when we talked about this last meeting, was that if we fix Ward 2 roads as part of the settlement, that leaves the money then to be redistributed towards wherever it needs to be done. And I am happy that we have had this opportunity to have sober second thought. The idea of postponing to October never sat well with any of us. In fact, a number of councillors wouldn't even leave the council chamber that night because they were trying to find a way to bring it back so that we would, in fact, get the work done. Mm-hmm. And tonight, what we can say is that included in the list of roads is the Elko Road from Caister-Gainsborough Town Line to Port Davidson, and Elko Road from Wellandport Road to Heaslip Road, and that was always supposed to get done. This does not, and I commend my colleagues from Ward 1 for not trying to mix metaphors here and trying to change standards. That's a discussion that needs to be deferred to the budget for 2018. Mm-hmm. But all this does is say, if you're fixing the road with the turbine money, then the money that's in the budget for 2018 can be redirected to roads that need it. And that was where we were last time. That's where we are today. So let's get on with the music. Thank you very much, and I hope you people enjoy a dust-free existence in the near future. Again.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead, Councillor Belsma.
So, I just want to reiterate briefly that the staff had a fine. We understand we're not fixing roads twice, so that's so obvious. The second thing is the staff came forward with a report that dealt with roads that were. We understand that all the roads had some damage to them, and in their prorating, some roads got to a point where they need to be fixed, and some had damage to them, but they still have some life in them. And so that should be said. Nobody's denying that roads in Ward 1 received some damage, but perhaps not to the degree where they needed to be fixed. But the staff in their wisdom came forward with a report. I objected strongly that it came in a council meeting where we couldn't have the fulsome discussion. So that got my hackles up. I did not see that the First Amendment was representing what the staff had came forward. I felt it was quite a large change, and so that's why we opposed it. That's why we ultimately had a kind of a vigorous discussion, and it was deferred. At the end of the day, I want what's best for the residents of the whole of the municipality, but also Ward 2. I also, and so I want to say this, the NRWRC project negotiated with this council and came up with a settlement, did so largely with, in mind, a view to repair the roads in Ward 2. And that's just the way that it landed. It very conveniently was in Ward 2 that most of the damage was done. And that's just undeniable too. For optics to the residents, I think it's appropriate that this council does we understand that, you know, there are there's a capital plan and a 10-year capital plan for fixing roads. But for the optics, for the residents that lived in this ward, the ones that had to endure all the trucks and the interruptions and the dust and the breaking up of the roads, that it would be incumbent upon us to say, you know what, let's stick with the staff plan. I understand what this new amendment is very different than what was originally proposed, but let's stick with the original plan,
Which we are.
which right now there's the amendment proposal. So I'm kind of still speaking against the amendment.
But Council, the amendment has nothing to do with the original plan or the roads that are outlined in Attachment A. So that's what you need to convey to your residents. Everything that was in Attachment A, every road that was affected by FWRN is on the list.
Okay, so I'm giving an explanation of why the deferral happened. At the end of that day, it looked like a good chunk of the money that was allotted for repairing roads that were most damaged or beyond repair, like Elko Road and like some of the other ones, was going to cap other roads that were in our capital plan. They weren't just nebulous roads, but they were in our capital plan, and I get that. But for optics, I think it's important for the residents of that were greatly affected, the ones that drive down many of the Ward 2 roads, that they would see that this money would come to them. We understand that we're not going to do this twice, so that means there's a kind of a surplus in the capital plan for roads in the other regions that would be fixed up in the subsequent years, because every year there's an analysis of those roads and the shape they're in, and obviously many of the ones in Road 2 would be fixed through this program. So that's by way of explanation. So that's where we're sitting. I want to make sure that the residents that were most affected, you know, by way of roads, and they were affected in other ways too, but at least the road part would be dealt with by the settlement.
So, in speaking right now, to the YouTube video, tell the residents of Ward 2 that everything is okay. I'm not kidding, Councillor, because I want you to say that all the roads that are affected from FWRN that are listed in Attachment A will be dealt with and fixed. That's what I want you to say to your constituents.
That's right. Yeah. So I would agree with that. I still am a little bit concerned, or I'm still not understanding this amendment, which is why I'm still a little bit opposed to it. Like I don't understand why this road. Like, are we saying that these roads will get fixed in 2018?
Okay.
And they were slated for this year?
So this is where your comments or questions should be for the amendment. Madam Clerk, Interim CAO, please do your best shot at clarifying this, please.
Through you to clarify the intent of the amendment that was drafted. All of the roads listed in the report will be done. The savings, if you look on the amendment, it lists 4 roads and it lists beside the amount. Port Davidson Road from 16 to concession 4, 145, another 260, another 132, another 360. That totals 897,000. Those are roads that were included in the 2018 budget that will not have to be utilized. The funds won't have to be utilized, and those funds for 2018 capital road project will be reallocated to projects in Ward 1. That's what that means.
I finally get it.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that clarification. So I can say, yes, I'm very comfortable with this now.
Okay. Awesome. No clapping. No clapping. Do you want to speak again, Councillor Trombetta? Okay. Okay, awesome.
All you had to do was call me for coffee.
Okay. Yes. I'm voting on the amendment. I don't want to hear any more. Let's go. Voted by Councillor Trombetta and second by Councillor Rayner. The amendment that the recommendation contained in Report RFD PW 23, 2017 Road and Bridge Restoration Plan Amendment to Budget be amended to add the following new Section 5, that the following budget amounts that were allocated in the 2018 Capital Road Program for the works undertaken and improved through Report RFD PW 23, 2017, which is the Road and Bridge Restoration Plan Amendment to Budget, be reallocated in the 2018 budget and road repair construction projects for Ward 1. Port Davidson Road from 16 Road to Concession 4 for $145,000. B, Port Davidson Road from Concession 4 to Regional Road 65 for $260,000. C, Port Davidson Road from Regional Road 65 to Vaughan Road, $132,000. And D, South Chippewa Road from Case to Gainsborough Town Line Road to Church Road for $360,000 for a total of $897,000. What's that? Recorded vote has been asked for by Councillor Rayner. Okay, so can I just say one thing as staff direction? I've all given you a chance to speak, so I just want to say one thing. When we put out the RFP tender, Mr. Julian, can we specify that if we can get this work done, that we do the resurfacing roads first, so we can get that done in 2017, which speaks to Elko Road. What else, Councillor Chichuk, is on there for the resurfacing? I don't have the report in front of me. It's at the top there.
Or Davidson Road, 16 to from 16 to 6, Regional Road 63, Caister to Gainsborough Town Line, Regional Road 14 to Regional Road 63, South Chippewa Road, Caister Gainsborough Town Line Road to Church Road, and Elko Road, Wellandport Road to Heaslip Road.
So obviously, Mr. Julian, what we're going to do is we're going to give these this tender a time limit from starting date to a closing date, and that may very well go into 2018. That may very well go into 2019. There's a lot of roads being done here. So I would like staff direction stipulations to say that if anything can be done in 2017, that Elko Road be the first roads, both sides, that get done first. Okay? And then my second request, what's that? Let's go. And my second request, Mr. Julian, is that we do not do any
Mud roads.
stone roads before Christmas. And you know why. I don't want to see any of those done until the springtime, if we could. Okay? Thank you. Councillor Rayner?
I believe, Mr. Mayor, a couple years ago, we redid Caister Center Road, and we've got a really good deal, and I believe it was from, I don't know if I can mention Norristown, because they were looking for work. I was hoping that maybe because the timing is a little later in the season, we may have an opportunity to get some really good pricing in.
Or the opposite to that is that if we do the tender in the fall and we give them opportunity to be busy all through the springtime of 2018, we can also get with the gravel roads.
We can play this both ways.
You're
So
right.
This may be very advantageous timing-wise for us right now.
You're right.
I'm looking forward to Mr. Julian getting that out there. Call the question. Call the question.
Okay.
And it's been recorded.
Okay, one comment, Councillor Trombetta.
Very, very simple. Mr. Mayor, through you, the amendment, the amendment obviously slated that it's Ward 1. Will I be meeting with the Director of Public Works as chair, and hopefully my vice chair can attend as well, that the allocated funds, then we can come, like the director will come up with a game plan for the allocated funds for Ward 1. This amendment is passed.
I would think it would be the normal process that you go through to create the budget for the next year. Yes, I can't see that not happening. Okay, so you're going to have to sit down, both chair and co-chair, and work with the director on the budget allocation. You listening? Okay, good. Okay, we're going to call the question, and it's a recorded vote. So, Madam Clerk, go ahead.
This is the amendment.
This is the amendment.
Councillor Bell?
In favor.
Councillor Bilsma?
In favor.
Councillor Chichak?
In favor.
Councillor Rayner?
Support.
Councillor Trombetta?
Support.
Mayor McFerrin?
In favor. Now, the original motion as amended, is there any more comments or questions, or have we beaten this horse to death enough? Okay, we're all good?
Yes.
And all those in favor? The original motion as amended. Too late for a recorded vote, I already called it, and it was unanimous. All in favor? Carried. Well, that's not true. Do you really want a recorded vote, Councillor Chichuk? Because we can do that. What would you say? What do you want?
think we should have a recorded vote, Mr. Mayor. You did it on the amendment, might as well do it on the original motion, and then people
Okay.
of Ward 2, 1, and 3 will all know what we did.
Okay, go ahead, Madam Clerk. You're right.
Councillor Bell?
In favor.
Councillor Bilsma?
In favor.
Councillor Chichak?
Yes.
Councillor Rayner?
Support.
Councillor Trombetta?
Support.
Mayor Joyner?
In favor. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to thank Councillor Bell for bringing this back. The deferral really bothered us, and it's nice to see that this is moving forward and we're going to get something done for the taxpayers of this township. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, let's move on to 12A. Clerk Carolyn Langley rescinding of motion relating to judicial review of District School Board of Niagara accommodation review relating to the closure of South Lincoln High School. Notice served at June 26, 2000 council meeting. You'll remember, councilors, that we said that we were going to rescind this motion, and we did it. So now this is the resolution coming forward a month later. Councilor Chichuk, you have that resolution, please.
I do, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Rayner that the following recommendation adopted at April 24th, 2017 council meeting be and is hereby rescinded. Whereas on March 28th, 2017, the District School Board of Niagara resolved to close South Lincoln High School, Grimsby Secondary School, and Beamsville District High School, Secondary School, and whereas South Lincoln High School is scheduled to close on June 30, 2017, and Grimsby Secondary School and Beamsville Secondary School are slated to close at the end of 2019-20 school year. Now therefore be it resolved that the Minister of Education and District School Board of Niagara be advised that the Township of West Lincoln will file an application for a judicial review with the Superior Court of Justice with respect to the District Board of Niagara's decision to close South Lincoln High School, and that this resolution be circulated. Isn't this one we're rescinding?
Yes, that is the one you're rescinding.
Right.
You're just reading what you're rescinding.
I got it. That the resolution be circulated for information to the Minister of Education, Premier Kathleen Wynne, Minister of Infrastructure, Minister of Municipal Affairs, and the District School Board of Niagara, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Rural Ontario Municipal Association, MPP Sam Osteroff, and all municipalities of Ontario.
Councilor, you've just heard the resolution moved by Councilor Chichuk and seconded by Councilor Rayner. It is the resolution to rescind. All those in favor? And that's carried.
Where the hell?
Okay, other business, Section A, consent agenda items. Note, all items listed below are considered to be routine and non-controversial and will be approved by one resolution. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests it, in which case the item will be removed from the consent resolution and considered immediately following adoption of the remaining consent agenda items. Let me read them out. 1, West Lincoln Public Library Board meetings. 2, Multi-Municipal Wind Turbine Working Group minutes. 3, Public Advisory Committee PAC minutes. 4, Information Report PD 09817, which is an update relating to the residential lot inventory for the Smithville Settlement Area and compliance analysis with the Places to Grow P2G plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe as implemented by RPPA 2-2009. And 5, Information Report number PD 10317, which is the 2016 Planning Department Activity Summary and Review of Proposed 2017 Projects. And 6, the Information Report PD 09417, Building Department Annual Budget Report 216. Now, the recommendation is that Council hereby approves the following consent agenda items. Items 1 through 6 be and are hereby received for information with the exception of items 2? Oh, 3? 2 and 3 or just 3? Just 3? Okay, so that seeing that number 3 is pulled, Again, these are all for information. I will ask for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Rayner, you have that resolution for 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. Don't bother reading it out again, just hand it to me because I already read it. Moved by Councillor Rayner and seconded by Councillor Trombetta. The council hereby approves the following consent agenda items. Items 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, and are hereby received for information with the exception of item number 3. Seeing no comments or questions about that, I call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Number 3, Councillor Bell?
So it's a question, number 3, item 7, other business. It says WCO reports that more leases are being signed in the Grassy Fulton area. There is more capacity in the grid now. Guess I'm looking for who's saying this and is it true? Looking for an explanation.
Did you want to speak to that, Councillor?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
That was captured in the notes versus really minutes. Oh, Mr. Treble is there. I'm sorry, I didn't notice you. But in fact, we were advised by members of the PAC committee that members of the community had been approached to sign leases, and that it was on good information that they were hearing that, and that there was extra capacity in the grid that could accept additional transformation, or pardon me, generation of power. So it was a note that was made. We didn't do anything beyond accepting the information from those that had been hearing about the approach. Mr. Treble, you could actually elaborate, perhaps.
WCO is the Wind Concerns Ontario organization. And
Still not on.
It is now.
Is it? Okay.
Wind Concerns Ontario organization was reporting to members that live in our township that there are more leases being signed. That's all we know, is that this provincial organization is hearing that rumor.
So, through you, Mayor, I'd like to ask that maybe staff could look into this a little deeper to find out if there's any truth to it, or is it just a rumor or hearsay?
How would they do that, Councillor?
Well, that's why I'm asking staff to look, because I really don't know at this point, but I think it's important we find out if there's any truth to it, because we don't want to go through what we just went through over the last few years with these, and not that we can do a lot about it, unfortunately, but it would be nice to know if we're dealing with a rumor or something that is true. So maybe staff could investigate how we could do this. I know they're very busy and it takes time, but
I don't think it's done. I think it's the investigation process, unless a proponent or a farmer comes forward and says, hey, look at here, I've signed a lease. I don't know how staff is going to find that out.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the best I could suggest is that we reach out to Wind Concerns Ontario and see if we can flesh out from them the source of the rumor or the accuracy or detail behind it. The only thing, if I may, Mr. Mayor, on top of that, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I was watching Queen's Park Legislature debate the other day, and it was very clear. The Premier stood up and said that I put on the table when I got to be the leader that the unwilling host position means something. So I hope she stands by that, because we are on the record as being an unwilling host. So
yeah, that's right.
Councillor Chichak?
Mr. Mayor, it is my intention fully to be at the August Multi-Municipal Advisory Committee, which we've joined as a municipality, and I will ask there as well, because they have connections with Queen's Park, and we certainly at AMO can ask if there's any new contracts being issued. And we can look to flesh it out from many aspects, as well as just having our staff look at it.
So, but you know what the answer is going to be, because she's put a moratorium. So
Until after the election.
Right.
I know, but this might be an old one that got signed that's just coming out of the peephole. I don't think that there are, but
I think there's one deal out of Chatham-Kent that actually got pushed through simply because it was before she had totally announced or fully announced the moratorium. But
exactly.
Other than that, I don't think there's any contracts being signed by the government, but that's not to say that there's not people out there signing deals with the local farmers.
Mayor Jordan, all I'm asking is we try to put this rumor to bed, because this community's had more than enough rumors over the last little while.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha. Okay. So, can we call the vote on number 3, 2 as well?
Seconded by Councillor Trombetta, the minutes of the Public Advisory Committee meeting held on December 7th, 2016, and April 4th, 2017 be received for information, and that staff be directed to approach WCO regarding additional contracts being signed at this time. Sound good?
Got it.
Hold on.
There's a lot of good stuff in this consent agenda items. I'll tell you, 1 through 6. There's a lot of good reports in here. I'm just looking, I remember reading the Building Department Annual Budget Report 216. The numbers. Okay, all those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, Section B, Planning, Building, Environmental Items. Weren't we down this planning road already? Director of Planning and Building, Mr. Brian Treble, read report number PD 117, recommendation report bylaw to permit amendments to the Township of West Lincoln Secondary Plan, official plan amendment number 45, OPA 45 for the Northwest Quadrant. Councilor Trombetta, resolution, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Rayner that the report PD 100-17 regarding the bylaw to permit amendments to the Township of West Lincoln Secondary Plan, official plan amendment number 45, OPA 45 for the Northwest Quadrant dated July 24th, 2017 be received, and that a bylaw as found as attachment number 2 to this report be adopted by the Township Council to address future amendments to the secondary plan for the Northwest Quadrant of the Township Council is willing to consider amendments within the first 2 years of the adoption.
Thank you, councilors. For the resolution, heard the resolution, moved by Councilor Trombetta and seconded by Councilor Rayner. Mr. Treble, could you just speak a little bit to some of Jarrett Marcus's comments that he made earlier and put his mind at ease and the developers?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. This is a new thing that we have to do now because the Planning Act says that once an official plan amendment is approved, that there should be no amendments for 2 years. I'm comfortable saying that let's not put that freeze in place. I feel that we've done a good job with the draft of the secondary plan, and I'm reasonably confident, based on what I've seen in terms of submissions to date, that we'll be able to make this thing work. But in the off chance that something is a glitch, then this gives us the opportunity to consider something. Ultimately, it's this council that makes the final decision on whether or not you're going to accept an amendment. That's number one. And number two, the process would rest here. It would not require regional approval because it would be a site-specific type of thing. So I'm reasonably confident that the resolution to allow for consideration of amendments is nothing to be worried about. The final thing, if I can just, Mr. Mayor, really quickly, IBI Group also, in addition to Jared, provided a letter dated today, which will be on your desk, related to the same matter of supporting the resolution and the report.
So unless somebody comes to us and says they want to build a 24-story high-rise, we're good to go.
We're good to go.
All right. Thank you. All those in favor? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councilor Rayner.
Thank you. Through you to the Director of Planning. Normally, you do not have this option, and it's solid for 2 years, correct?
Historically, this has never been in place. This is new. The province is trying to give municipalities an opportunity to say, we just did this, bug off. But in this case, I don't know that we need to be that firm.
Through you to the Director, why do you want to leave this open when you don't have to? Is there something you're concerned about that you want to? Otherwise, wouldn't it be cleaner just to go with the rules and say, now I don't have to worry about it?
As much as we've worked through an extensive process through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm not going to sit here and say we're smarter than everyone else and we've done it right the first time. I think we've done a very good job, but I'm willing to admit that there may be some discussion points that we should look at further.
But you have the final say, Counselor. But you have the final say. He's saying to you that whatever it is, he's bringing it back to this council for us to approve.
As long as it applies to the benefit of the residents and of the taxpayers of West Lincoln through our planner, the best interests are in that direction. That's where I'm coming from. I was figuring that maybe it was a loophole for the developer to try to change something, in which case I would say, that's over now. We're closed for 2 years. You got what you got, we got what we got, we're moving on. But if it's not for that reason, then if it's to protect the interests of the taxpayers and the residents of West Lincoln, then I would agree with the planner. And that's what I believe is what you're saying.
That is correct. We have the final say at this level.
And that's the important thing, and that's what we have to maintain at all times. And thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Seeing no more questions or comments, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to Planner 2, Mr. Garrett Burama, and Director of Planning and Building, Mr. Brian Trouble. Report number PD 08717, which is a technical report, zoning bylaw amendment. Oh, I'm not even going to say that. File number, Gaho. Okay, file number 1601-00917. Councillor Bell, you have that resolution, please.
Move on myself and seconded by Councilor Rayner that report PD 087-17 regarding Shade Gaho application rezoning file number 1601-009-17 dated July 24th, 2017 be received, and the recommendation report is presented at a future planning and building environmental committee once all agencies and public comments have been received and reviewed.
Councillors have heard the resolution moved by Councillor Bell and seconded by Councillor Rayner. Questions or comments? Councillor Bell?
Through me to Griner. I'd like to put a motion out that I believe we need to have a second public meeting in November, because there's a lot of residents that weren't able to come tonight for various reasons, vacation, etc. Also, the fact that the individual putting the application out didn't have the time to come tonight. I'm also a little troubled that the individual was stated by his representative, a salesperson, that he doesn't speak nor understand English. He don't understand the process or the laws that he's trying to achieve. I think it's important also that he be made aware that we are going to have another meeting in November, and that he show up for it. It's in his best interest.
With an interpreter.
And an interpreter and his planner, because there was a lot of questions. We didn't ask. I had some, but there was no point in asking because we weren't going to get any answers. And that's why I just said none at this time. But I think it's important he be notified and made very clear that he needs to show up. I agree with the comments that Councilor Chichak stated that, we can say no to it tonight. We can go to the municipal board and get our asses whipped. But let's give him a chance. Let's bring it back. And if you don't show up, then we can go ahead and do what we have to do.
Okay, Councilor Rayner wants to second that. Councilor Bell's meant to speak, and then Councilor Chichak.
I was going to second it.
Okay.
I just wanted to, so when I asked about postponing this or something like that, the comment came up 120 days. And November's 4 months. So I'm wondering if it's if that's within the time frame. Like, so when did the clock start, and when does this public meeting have to take place, and when do we have to make a decision within the 120 days? So if it has to work, or else then we're.
Yep. Let's get some clarification, Mr. Trouble.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The 120 days, I'm not going to be too worried about it in the event that there is targeted action yet to happen. So the fact that we're saying we're going to hold a second public meeting in November shows me, and I believe we could argue shows the public, that we are in fact still doing something on the file. In addition, for the record, I will be reaching out to the applicant and asking for a meeting where I can share some of what happened tonight, some of the concerns, and ask him for efforts to be put towards being able to provide a far more elaborate and detailed presentation by the time we hold a second public meeting, so that we all understand a whole lot better exactly what the proposal is before us. So I think with that, Mr. Mayor, I wouldn't be too worried about the 120.
Okay.
The 120 is only in the event that we choose to sit on it and do nothing.
Okay, okay. Yeah, good?
Comfortable with that.
Okay. Madam Clerk, do you have something written out there?
Moved by Councillor Bell, seconded by Councillor Rayner, that a second public meeting be held for the zoning bylaw amendment in the name of Shademoor Dave, file number 1601-00917, in November, to provide residents opportunity to be in attendance, and that the owner be notified to be in attendance along with an interpreter and his companion.
Good. Okay, seeing no more comments or questions, all those in favor of the amendment? And that is carried. And the original motion as amended, all those in favor? And that's carried too. Did you sign my name, Madam Clerk? Did you sign my name? Okay. So I don't have to sign it then. All right. Okay, let's move on. D, Planner 2, Garrett Borderman, Director of Planning and Building, Brian Trouble, report number PD 09517, which is a recommendation report zoning bylaw amendment. This is for B&A Heaslip Farms, Pam Heaslip agent, file number 1601-00717. Councilor Bilesma, you have that resolution, please. It's the Heaslip file.
Yeah. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Bell that report PD 95-17 regarding B&A Heaslip Farms Limited, Pam's Heaslip agent, file number 1601-7-17 dated July 24, 2017 be received, and that section 34 parentheses 17 of the Planning Act apply, and that no further public meeting is required, and that application for zoning bylaw amendment 1601-7-17 submitted by B&A Heaslip Farms, Pam Heaslip agent, be approved.
Councilors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councilor Bosman, second by Councilor Bell. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is carried. Councilor Chichuk, you have E, that's the SNPA file.
That is correct, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Trombetta. That report PD 09617 regarding Leonard and Lynn SNPA, Mitch and Elsie SNPA, file number 1601-00817 dated July 24, 2017 be received. And that section 34 sub 17 of the Planning Act apply and no further public meeting is required, and that application for zoning bylaw amendment 1601-00817 submitted by Leonard and Lynn SNPA and Mitch and Elsie SNPA be approved.
Councilors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councilor Chichuk and second by Councilor Trombetta. Is there any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. We'll move on to F. Councilor Chichuk, you have that too as well. That is the Severino ask.
Thank you. I was looking at the wrong one. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Rayner, that report PD 09717 regarding street name for Stepping Stones condominium of applicant Catalina Construction and Landscape Corporation, file number 2000-08316 dated July 24th be received, and that the condominium street be named Vienna Circle, and that the required bylaw be passed to name the street at the appropriate time.
Councilors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councilor Chichuk and second by Councilor Rayner. Is there any comments or questions? So it looks like that the condominium street be named Vienna Circle and that the required bylaw be passed to name the street at the appropriate time. Comments or questions about that? Councilor Rayner?
Can you give background again on that, why that was selected and not the other one, the name of the actual gentleman?
So as I understand it, there was a name on the list, and the name on the list that we have here at the township is Vienna, but because the developer has the choice to put forward a name too as well, and it's an ask, right? It's up to us, and it's his namesake, so he has asked for the Severino Circle as opposed to the Vienna Circle. That, according to Mr. Marcus today, is what Mr. Ralph Severino was asking for. It's up to us.
Is there a chance, Mr. Mayor, that we can further discuss this at this time and have another vote with regards just to ensure, or is the decision basically take Vienna or not take Vienna?
No. It's put forward that Vienna is the name. If you don't like it, then vote it down and then come forward with the. Sure. Okay. Any more questions or comments? Councillor Bell?
So when you read through it, at the end of the day, the conclusion is that this report is written to inform the committee of the proposal street names, Savarino Circle or Vienna Circle, is put forward by IBI Marcus. Savarino Circle is the third name that we would like to have.
Mm-hmm.
And Vienna is the one that's being put to us. Personally, I don't have an issue with either one. Savarino Circle, he's been part of the community for quite some time. He obviously is going to be part of the community for many more years. So that's his development. I don't have an issue with Savarino Circle. So that's what I'd like to put forward.
Okay. So defeat this motion and then come forward with another one. Okay. Any other comments? Councillor Chichak?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Yes, it's not, I read the background on the names that we have on the preferred list, both ours, the acceptable street names, as well as the historical street names, and Vienna does appear on our acceptable street names list. And I have always wanted to see work, as you know, Mr. Mayor, since the time I've been on council, that we enhance the acceptable street names list to include a much larger group of names than what we have, and that we pay respect to fallen heroes, war heroes, etc., and that we do some things that other municipalities are doing. It's also been something that I've held very, very strongly to, and that is that we don't name streets after developers or people that are in the development industry. And for that reason, I put forward Vienna. It appears on one of the acceptable street name lists, and it doesn't cause any kind of difficulty about preferential treatment to developers, etc. And that's why I put it forward. If people are against it, they can turn it down and they can make a motion for a separate name.
Sure. Okay. Councillor Trombetta?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I hear where Councillor Chichuk's coming from. I do just, I'm not opposed to the Savarino name. I just find that all streets are named after someone's name. Doesn't matter which one. They're all last names out there, Smiths and so on and so forth. Everything's named after a name, right? So I just find that, Savarino is, it's a request. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said before. There's other streets named in this township that are after other developers. So I'm not opposed to the name Savarino, but again, it's we defeat this motion and it comes forward and it passes, then yeah. If not, then hey, what can we do, right? So.
Okay. So seeing no more questions or Councillor Bosman, go ahead.
Just one quickly. I sit on the Heritage Committee. We put a lot of work into that list. It has been updated. So I speak in favor of Vienna because I'm part and parcel in favor of the list.
Yep. Okay. Okay. So I will call the vote. All those in favor of Vienna, put your hands up high. And that is defeated. I'll be looking for another motion, please. Councillor Bell. I need a seconder for that. Councillor Rayner. Questions or comments? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Good, Madam Clerk? Okay. Okay. Gee, where does banging these off? Director of Planning and Building, Brian Trouble. Report number PD 09217, recommendation report, amendment to the dog control bylaw 21144 as, did I miss one?
Missed one.
Oh, I'm sorry, G. Director of Planning, Brian Trouble, report number PD 09117, recommendation report, amendment to the site alteration bylaw 21641. Councillor Rayner, you have that resolution, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Jason Trombetta. That report PD-0191-17 regarding amendment to site alteration bylaw 2016-41 dated July 24th, 2017, be received, and that a bylaw be passed to amend bylaw 2016-41. The amending bylaw is found at attachment number 2 to this report to ensure that fill is related to agriculture and/or the main permitted use of the affected land.
Thank you, councillors, for the resolution. Moved by Councillor Rayner and seconded by Councillor Trombetta. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that is carried. Councillor Trombetta, you have H, please. That's the amendment to dog control bylaw.
It's dog, it's not Doug control, guys, okay?
That's not nice, come on.
Okay? Moved by myself and seconded by Council Rayner that report PD 092-17 regarding amendment to dog control. Sorry.
I hear a Bill 168 coming on here somewhere. There's got to be, right?
That report, PD 092-17 regarding amendment to dog control bylaw 2011-44 as amended, dated July 24th, 2017, be received, and that bylaw 2011-44 as amended be further amended by the passage of the attachment amendment bylaw as found at attachment number 2 into this report.
Councillors, you've heard the resolution, somewhat jaded by Councillor Trombetta and seconded by his partner in crime, Councillor Rayner. Questions or comments? Yes, Councillor Chichuk.
Just for clarity, that
It's dog.
That is dog, D-O-G, not Doug.
Yes.
But it also refers to residential properties within the Township of West Lincoln and not to rural municipalities, where there may in fact be need for working dogs or other, dogs that chase away coyotes and stuff.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried.
Aye. Director of Planning, Mr. Treble, report number PD 10417, which is an information report for the proposed new fence bylaw. Councillor Bell, you have that resolution.
I do. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Rayner that report PD-104-17 regarding proposed new fence bylaw dated July 24th, 2017 be received for information.
Councillors, you've heard the resolution. Moved by Councillor Bell and seconded by Councillor Rayner. Any questions or comments? Yes, Councillor Chichuk?
The only thing that worries me is that with one of our councillor members not even here, this asks for us to have our comments back by what, August 2nd or something? 4th, sorry, I apologize. It's a little tight. If we're going to get comment from constituents and want to make comment back, is it that essential we have this done by August 28th or whatever the next meeting is? I just ask because it's not really a problem to me out in the rural areas, but it may be a problem to people in town.
So, Mr. Treble, it's your department.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the goal of staff has been to try and get these bylaws before council now that we have the new comprehensive zoning bylaw. If it's an extra month, it's no big deal. I would prefer to have input and try and do it as close to accurate and right the first time as possible. Staff are reaching out to the Agricultural Society and a couple of farmers, and certainly the more input the better. So if we can't do the 4th and comments come in later and it ends up September report, if that's what's appropriate, that's what we can do.
Okay. So, and you mentioned more to, the rural and to the farmers. There's a lot of issues that we're having with fence bylaw situations right here in the urban area of Smithville too as well. So,
through you, Mr. Mayor, the bylaw is written and ready to go as it applies to urban. The unique piece is the rural piece.
Okay.
Rural piece.
Rural piece.
So we're working, and in fact, I've got draft language in front of me that Jeff and I have been hammering out to deal with the rural areas. Standard fencing in the agricultural area is definitely not chain link. That's part of the issue. So if we're dealing with boundary fences to try and deal with the Line Fences Act,
right,
we need to come up with a reasonable boundary fence that's not chain link for the agricultural area. And that's what we're trying to work.
And let's be honest, how many farmers are going to want to talk to you right now over the next 30 days? They're all in the field, so I think we probably should probably move this to September. You see no issue with it?
As long as council's okay with it. I know there is a desire based on some comments I have heard that we need one for the urban areas sooner than later. So that's partly why we were aiming for August, but I can do September.
Can we split it up? Probably not, right? We got to do together.
It's tidier to have it all in one bylaw.
Yeah, okay, okay. Are we alone on this, or does everybody feel as September's okay? Okay, is that staff direction, Madam CAO? You're good? You sure? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, Director Planning, report number PD 10417. Oh, no, that I just did that. That's offense by law. J, receipt of funding under Regional Realm Improvement Program. This is a verbal update. Who's giving this? Is it Mr. Trouble? Okay, go ahead.
So, Mr. Mayor, this is just to report that on June 20th, we received official confirmation from the region via Khaldoon Ahmed that we have received $38,000 from the region for public realm work that we're doing. And specifically, it says the scope is for the purchase and installation of banner arms, basket arms, replacement of Season's Greeting sign, new wayfind signage at the new parking lot, that's the United Church parking lot.
Yep.
And enhancements to the landscaping of the new public parking area. So that $38,000 is to assist with all of that work that we are more or less done, I think. So
Okay.
we're soon ready to make the application to get that money back.
Very good. Mr. Julian, ETA, when the lights will be hooked up?
To you, Mr. Mayor, spoke with the contractor, and it's in the subcontractor's hands. We're holding back money until he can get the lights hooked up. And it may be a problem that they were waiting for one wall unit to get ordered, and it's all part of the
I
same
see.
circuit, and they can't energize until then. But we're holding back a healthy amount to motivate.
In the wayfinding sign, who's doing that? Is that the region producing that sign?
To you, Mr. Mayor, no, it is our staff that are stick handling that.
Okay, okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of verbal report? Don't need it. Okay. Director of Planning, Brian Trouble, potential appeals, new comprehensive zoning bylaw in Northwest Quadrant, secondary plan, official plan amendment. Mr. Trouble, do you have a verbal report on that, please?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Through you, the two appeal periods for the Northwest Quadrant and the new zoning bylaw expired today at 4:30. Yes. We got one appeal to the zoning bylaw, no appeals to the official plan. So I think we're generally in good shape. The appeal to the zoning bylaw is the one I referred to you earlier, property owned by Phelps on the north side of Wade Road Bridge, that they are concerned about a change in zoning that occurred between the previous version and this version. So we can have discussions and work that out, but to be honest, I'm quite pleased with the fact that in this process we ended up with one appeal. That's kind of unheard of to have even that few. So for the record, there's the one appeal, and it's on the zoning bylaw, and the official plan is in full force and effect for the secondary plan for the Northwest Quadrant.
Good job to go through all that you went through and your staff and this council went through in this whole Northwest Quadrant, and we never received one appeal. That's amazing. That means we did something right. That means we listened. We tried to tackle these things before they actually became a problem. So kudos to you. Okay, Director of Planning, verbal update on regional development charges bylaw.
Just really briefly, Mr. Mayor, I think we've had a number of discussions on this now. Most of the required works for growing Smithville and West Lincoln on a going forward basis are contained within the regional numbers. We've been able to confirm that. And as of June the 20th, the bylaw was approved. So the 45-day appeal period will start and should have a bylaw by September 1st, although they're cutting it close. The numbers in the new bylaw for DCs are down slightly, as I believe they removed regional daycare and regional funding for housing, affordable housing or something like that from the DC numbers. So
and so they should.
There's a phase in, and the ultimate number is about 2,000. I think it is less than what the targeted number was in the first report. So from my perspective, I think generally it's a good bylaw and suits West Lincoln well.
It wasn't all that bad of a meeting. I thought it was going to be a whole lot worse. There was some real rejection from the south, and mostly Welland and Port Colborne. But other than that, generally everybody was on board with the new regional DC bylaw. Councillor Chichuk.
Most importantly, the bylaw includes the bypass for West Lincoln
Yes, it does.
And the Niagara Escarpment.
and the
Crossing.
Niagara Escarpment.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments or questions about the DC bylaw? Okay, seeing none, that was a verbal report. Okay, we're making hay, folks. Section C, Administration, Finance, Fire items. Fire Chief Dennis Fisher, Fire Department Monthly Update, June 2017.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the month of June, Station 1 had 22 calls, Station 2, Cacher had 7, and Pelham down at the east end had 2. Some notable notes, fire prevention had 2 homeschool tours and fire training sessions with little kids. Apparatus fleet hose testing was completed. We had about 4 lengths that did pass. Ladder testing and apparatus pump testing will be done by the end of this month, another week yet. Outside of that, new SCBA is in service now, so that's good. Guys really like it. And the boot drive that the guys did for autism for Evans ride was good success. It was about $3,000.
Very good. Very good. Just speak briefly about the letter that you received from Grimsby Fire Chief for us helping them out with their fire. Just kind of speak off the top of your head real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. You all know that Grimsby had a big fire down on Main Street. Initially, we sent a pump and a 4-man crew. About an hour later, they called for the aerial. It was there for about 6 hours. Overall, all 3 departments, because Lincoln was there too, for what they had, and the weather of the day, which was about 35 degrees, guys did a super job containing to what they had. So we had a very nice letter from Chief Kane and Grimsby. You know, kudos to our support and our manpower and our work ethic and you know how all 3 departments at the West End can come together and work together. So you know, kudos to Grimsby and kudos to our guys. It was long. I think they were there for 10 hours in total.
That was a long day. Hot too.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you for that. Move right into N, please, Chief, and talk about WLFD 1017, which is the disposal of surplus equipment, self-contained breathing apparatus. I think we have a resolution. So, Councilor Bosma, can you read that out real quick, please?
Yep. I report I move by myself, seconded by Councilor Rayner. Report WLFD 1017 dated July 24. Regarding disposal of surplus equipment, self-contained breathing apparatus be received, and that the fire chief be authorized to sell the surplus SCBA equipment to Waitfleet Fire Department at a cost of $15,175 plus HST, and that the provisions of the tendering and purchase policy that require the equipment to be sold by public auction be hereby approved.
Councilors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councilor Bosma and second by Councilor Rayner. Chief, go into it if you could, and then I'll ask if there's any questions or comments. I see Councilor Chichuk, but first give us your
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Putting it up and Chief Foster doing that we were going to have a surplus of our SBA. We sat down, had a meeting, and discussed some options as far as him purchasing it. I explained to him that I wanted to sell it all as one lot, not bottles or 5 masks here, 2 packs or whatever. It was all one. They unfortunately don't have that many on their trucks. So, you know, being a neighboring municipality, you know, I felt that there's no reason why we can't help a neighboring municipality out with our surplus equipment. Having said that, the prices that I came up with that are in the report are probably, when I talked to our rep from Gov Deals, they're public auction people, he said you probably won't get any more than what you were asking for. It was a little, like, Kevin was a little bit leery on some of the prices, but he had come over and looked at the equipment, and so we were all happy. We didn't have to adjust the price from what I started with.
And this equipment melts right in with their equipment that they're already using the same
They're using
apparatus, same Scots that we had before, so, okay. I see Councillor Chichuk, and then I got Councillor Rayner.
The only point that I wanted the chief to elaborate on was the fact that we bought new self-contained breathing apparatus and we were selling our old stuff. So either the guys in Wainfleet weren't going to be breathing too well, or why were we selling it in the first place? And if you could just touch on the fact that I think we moved to new equipment, we wanted it all the same, but I wanted to make sure that was on the record.
Well, through you, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, to Councilor Chichuk, one of the things that for us is we have a 15-year life cycle on SBA, which is under the NFPA.
Fire Protection Act.
Yes, correct. So our VAs came at our 15 life cycle came. We came to council, we tendered it out and bought a new VA. That's not to say that this cannot be used for another 10 years. It's just when we go by the NFPA, it's a 15-year life cycle and we get rid of it. Wainfleet does not follow that, only because I would say their funding is very minimal, and I wouldn't say they're taking hand-me-downs all the time, but I don't think they can afford, and this may buy them some time by buying it from us instead of buying 2 packs, because there's $15,000 they're going to pay us for 27. They'll only get 3 if they buy brand new.
So there's still lots of life left in these tanks, and our development charges cover our equipment within a 15-year life cycle for this kind of thing. So we're able to get rid of it and get an entire fleet of new equipment, and a smaller force can use our leftovers, and it's good for them and good for us.
Correct.
I'm happy. Thank you.
And quite honestly, they don't go to as many calls as the municipality of West Lincoln either. So this equipment can last a few more years. Councillor Rayner?
Thank you. Through you to the chief. Are these Scott Air Packs?
Through you to Councilor, yes.
I remember years ago, when I was called an alderman, Charlie Scott came here and he asked for those Scott breathing apparatuses, and we approved it for all of the firefighters, because we felt the best we can get is the least we can do for what the firefighters have to go through. But that can't be 15 years ago. So it's got to be like, I don't know, 8 years ago or something. It's a lot less than 15 years. And then that's my first question I want to pass through. Were these the same ones that Charlie Scott were talking about, or did he keep the ones prior to that, and we've still got the sets that we bought back 8 years ago or whatever? And then the other part is the fire regulations. You said require that you have to replace them after a certain period of time. Is that not a provincial regulation? And if it is a provincial regulation, and that's why we have to replace it, then we can't pass it on to somebody because that equipment has already been dated. It's like it expired. You know what I'm saying? I need a better understanding of this.
Okay, Chief, go ahead.
Through you to Councilor Rayner. One, I think you're talking about Charlie Street.
Oh, it's Charlie Street, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay,
Yes,
the
okay,
name
Scott,
you're-
I don't know why I got
you're
Scott, but
throwing me
hey,
off with the
Charlie
name, but
Street,
anyway.
yes,
No,
Charlie.
I'm not sure what SCBA he gave to Haldeman. These were purchased 15 years ago. The ones our surplus right now are 15 years old.
Then I wonder what the ones, because we
'Cause they are-
replaced a whole bunch of them, I remember it, and it was expensive, but
They
we
were
made sure we had
dated,
coverage.
2002. The other question you're asking is, it is the NFPA, which is the National Fire Protection Act, which is not provincial, it's an international body. The fire departments across the province and across Canada, most of them, it's not, they have to follow, but it's best practice that you follow the NFPA.
Guidelines.
Yes.
Oh, so they don't have to follow?
No,
Okay.
they don't have to. It's just best practice that you follow NFPA.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I know we bought a bunch of Scott air packs, and I know it's a lot less than 15 years because I've been on council 15 years. 14 years is the most I've been. So I don't understand where.
Maybe I can help you out. Chief, can you talk about the 2-packs that actually, 2-pack, he's a rapper, isn't he? The 2-packs where you actually can go inside the house with them. Yeah, it's Tupac. Good for you, Councillor Rayner. All right.
We have what we call an escape pack. So if we get into confined space where we don't have the space to wear a tank and a pack on our back, we wear a mask and we have a hose line, 500 feet of air line, and it's fed. Your air is fed from outside.
And those were not purchased in 2002. Those are newer.
I don't believe so. I'd have to look for sure.
But I think you charged accordingly if I remember the report.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up for sure. But there is 2 different ones. Yes. The one you wear on your back and then the one you just wear a mask with.
I was pretty sure these were the ones that we wore on the back.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Bell?
Just like to say thank you to each and every member of our fire department for assisting and a great effort they put in working with Grimsby with their fire. It was unfortunate. I've seen the aftermath, as probably many people have. And, it shows you what mutual aid is all about in small communities. The call come in and our guys were there, and, the second call come for more help, and they responded again adequately. And just like you to thank them. Really appreciated what they did. Great effort. So that's all.
Thank you. I will pass it
Thank
on.
you.
Like I said, it's one thing you got to take into consideration too is when you get a big fire like that in any municipality that you're neighboring, is you have to keep in mind that you still have to maintain coverage for your own municipality, which can be a struggle. Daytime hours, right? This was 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so you're in the heart of the day. But overall, Grimsby or Lincoln would do it for us in a heartbeat. So I never second guessed. I had about 6 guys back here with me that day. So, it all worked out in the end, and we all reciprocate work, so there's no dollar cost. We don't bill them, they don't bill us. We've used them a number of times in the last 10 months for their tankers. So over the course of the year, it usually plays itself out pretty easily.
And you look at that every year anyway. So
Yeah.
if there was any kind of one-sidedness,
Yeah,
we would address it. You would address it.
Yeah, correct.
Right. Okay. Okay. See no other questions or comments. I call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. All right, Donna, here we go. Treasurer, Director of Finance, Donna D. Philippus, report RFI T14 2017, June 2017 budget status report. Councillor Chichuk, you have that
Moved by myself and
resolution.
seconded by Councillor Trombetta that report you just mentioned be received for information.
Councillors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councillor Chichuk and seconded by Councillor Trombetta. Any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes, Councillor, go ahead.
On page 236 of our report is a list of the capital works that we're talking about, capital expenditures as of June 30th. And I just want to make sure, because everybody's all crazy about spending all this money we have in there. And to date, 2017 Grimsby Road 5 to Yonge Street, I guess, is $240,000 budgeted and nothing spent. And there is a $788,000 amount for a Boyle Road, I guess that's Bridge 23, BWL W16. So is that going to be part of the tender that we're going to do in this omnibus tender for all the roads that we just approved in the motion? I just want to make sure that this stuff's going to get spent too. So that might be not through you, Mr. Mayor, to Donna, but to Mr. Julian.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Chichuk, I'll start first. That project was subject to receiving funding from OSIF, I believe.
Yeah.
and we were turned down for that project. And so right now, it's up in the air a bit because Wainfleet's in the same boat, scrambling around to figure out what we're going to do with that bridge and the other bridge off of Gainsborough Town Line that we share. They're both in the capital plan. So we're going to be meeting with Wainfleet, Donna and myself and their treasurer, and we'll bring some more information back on that.
But the Grimsby Road, thank you for that. And through you, Mr. Mayor, the other one, the 2017 South Grimsby Road 5 to Yonge Street. Yeah, no, it's not a bridge. It's 2017 South Grimsby Road 5 RR to Yonge Street.
Oh, right.
$240,000.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Chichuk, the road capital was a separate tender, and that's gone out.
So it's gone out?
Yes.
So we'll be awarding that soon?
It's been awarded, I believe.
Oh, good. I missed that, but great. Thank you.
So there'll be a subsequent report that comes showing who is the winning tender? Because I don't remember that coming through.
I don't remember seeing that.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to members of council, I'll check with that, but that was under the road rehab tender. Anthony's Excavating won that tender.
Okay. Well, I'm thank you, Mr. Chair.
I don't remember that
I
either,
don't remember it
Councillor.
either, so I want to make sure that.
Yeah. Okay.
But, so on that point, we're going to, all those roads that are approved tonight, we are going to see that tender when it comes back. So we'll know that it's awarded and we're doing it. Okay. Thank you.
All those roads that we're doing tonight, South Grimsby Road 5 is not on there, though. Yeah. Okay, so I see.
No, South Grimsby Road 5 is being done. Catch it? I mean, we missed it.
I just missed the fact that it had been awarded. That's what I missed. I knew it was being done. Okay, Councillor Bosma?
Yeah, so I just want to ask the question that I've asked before, and just in April, we were supposed to get the community fund from NRWF. Have we received that funding?
Through you, Mayor Joyner, to Councillor Bosma, we received funding that covered 2016. So it was prorated for 2016. And I believe it's received every March or April. So we will get in 2017, in 2018, an entire year.
The full amount?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. What was the amount for the 2016 portion? Like a 1 month's worth or something, 2 months worth?
I believe it's when they began operating, which I believe was in October.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know the exact amount.
Okay.
I know it worked out. It was what we were supposed to get.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay. Seeing no more comments or questions, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Treasurer Director of Finance Donna D. Philippus, report RFD F1317 2016 draft financial statements and audit results. Councillor Chichuk, you have that resolution.
Right, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Rayner that report RFDT 13-17 regarding 2016 draft financial statements and audit results be received, and that the 2016 draft financial statements attached as Appendix A to this report be approved, and that the report to council communication of audit results attached as Appendix B to this report be accepted, and that 2016 internal control deficiency letter attached as Appendix C to this report be accepted.
Councillor, did you say RFDD or T?
T.
Then it's in here, it says RFDF. Okay, so it's supposed to say T. T is right? Okay.
TT.
Okay, any questions or comments?
Other than Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor, the point is that we've made it. We have another final draft financial statements and audit results, and with no new comments and no compromised audit opinion, and it only proves to show that our staff are continuing to do their work in a way that mitigates any kind of risk that is mentioned by the auditors, and an excellent year. And I'd like to compliment our staff.
Good, thank you. So resolution moved by Councillor Chichuk, Councillor Rayner. On the following, all those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, stay with me, folks. Treasurer, Director of Finance, Tax Sales Verbal Update. Ms. D. Philippus, please. Or, oh, sorry, RFD
2017 borrowing bylaw. Councilor Rayner, you have that resolution?
This one, right? Moved by myself and second by Councillor Jason Trombetta that report RFD-T-15-17 regarding the 2017 borough bylaw be received. And two, that council authorize the regional municipality of Niagara to issue a debenture through Infrastructure Ontario on behalf of the Township of West Lincoln in an amount not to exceed $20,575,158 Canadian to fund capital works as listed in Schedule A. And three, that bylaw 2017-83 referred to as the borrowing bylaw attached to this council agenda be approved.
Councilors, for the resolution moved by Councilor Rayner and second by Councilor Trombetta. Questions or comments? Councilor Bosma.
Yeah, just, I think it's disappointing, that we've done this, for many years, 40 years or more. This community's operated within, budget and never had to borrow. I was, proud of the fact that when I got knowledge, came in as a new, councillor and gained the knowledge of the status of our community. One of the things I was very pleased to say to the, constituents is that I thought we were a very well-run organization in the fact that we didn't have any outstanding debts. And over the course of this term, we've come to this point where we're borrowing $20 million. And I find that's, it's obviously a sign of the times. Every level of government's getting deeper and deeper into debt. And I don't think it's good for the country, and I don't think it's good for the municipality. So I just want to get that on record. That's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? I just want to add one to it. I'm glad to see that this bylaw is here before us, and I'm glad to see that we're borrowing $20 million. For far too many years, we've had roads and bridges that we've had to repair, and every time we do a federal or provincial grant to go and try and get money, they say you have absolutely no debt, West Lincoln, therefore we're not giving you any loans or grants to do the capital infrastructure work that you need to do on a yearly basis. So for many, many years, and Mrs. DeFilippe has just mentioned one here tonight, the OSIF grant, that the one that we applied for and sharing with Wainfleet, they've said to us, you are far too rich of a community, we will not be giving you any grants. So perhaps maybe now that we've borrowed $20 million, when we actually go to get a grant and some help and some money from the federal or provincial governments, they'll actually take us serious and look at us and maybe give us some money towards our capital projects. So I'm in favor of this. Councillor Rayner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only part about this, I understand where Councillor Bilsma's coming from. I mean, we're proud of the fact, and I think you would be proud of the fact yourself if you could say, you know something, I don't have a mortgage, I don't have any debts, I'm proud of myself. You don't use it as a penalty, you use it as a pat yourself on the back because you financially looked after yourself well. The government is saying that Canadians are spending beyond their means, and they're very concerned about the future should the interest rate go up, because a lot of people will default, especially with the ridiculous escalating in the price of real estate right now. And then all of a sudden, the government comes out with this thing saying, well, if you don't run efficiently and you end up with debt, we're going to reward you and give you money down the road. It seems the exact opposite of what they're saying. Like, this is the part that I don't get. I appreciate what you're saying, Mr. Mayor, and that's right. The fact that this township has been run extremely well, we're penalized, but the government's saying to the people, you're spending more money than you're making in, you're going to be in trouble if anything happens to the interest rate, is the opposite of this. So, I mean, how can this just doesn't add up logically when the government is saying to the people, you better smarten up and look after your money because you're going to really be in trouble. And now they're saying, no, go ahead and spend it because I'll reward you when you do it. I don't get it. Like, it seems like two different things coming from the same mouth.
So I can explain that. So what they're talking about is people living beyond their means. They're talking about day-to-day debt. They're talking about credit card debt. They're talking about mortgage debt. They're talking about debt about buying a car. When it comes to infrastructure, what they're trying to get across to people and to municipalities is, if you're taking money and borrowing money on an asset that's going to last 50 years, why would you want to pay it up front? Why wouldn't you take 50 years or 40 years or 30 years to pay it off little by little? And that lends into the fact that it's not the people just of today who are paying for that infrastructure. It's the people that move to this municipality over the next 50 years. Everybody will have a part, everybody will have a hand into paying for it, whether it be the MERS project, a bridge, a road, a hospital, whatever it is. That's how you take an infrastructure piece of property and debenture it over a period of time. It makes good sense. It makes economical sense to do it. It's going to last 50 years like a bridge. Why not take 50 years to pay for it?
I understand, but if I'm also efficient and have the money up front and can pay for it, why should I be penalized for that? That's the thing that I don't understand. It should be rewarded, not penalized, because we're doing the job well. We don't get into debt because we manage our money well. The government's saying, no, you manage money well, we're not going to help you out because you guys are either too smart or you don't understand our system. Our system is screw up, go into debt, and we'll give you some credit. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I just don't understand the logic. But
Here's what I understand is that we've managed our debt load very well over
Are we
47
proud of
years.
that?
We are proud of
the
that.
government says you shouldn't have been proud of that because I'm not going to reward you.
But here's what I'm not proud about is the fact that over the last 47 years, we haven't put enough money into our capital projects in order to keep up with the roads and the bridges that you talk about here each and every week. So if we would have maybe debentured infrastructure projects over the last 47 years, we wouldn't have to play catch up with bridges that were built in the 50s. And now we're deteriorating to a point where we have to close them. We didn't keep up with it.
And this is what you're referring to, I believe it's $62 million or something that we would be in debt to everything now?
If we had to, if PSAB, if we had to go by the PSAB report, which the government has made us do, and itemize every single piece of asset that we own, in order to bring it to the standards that, that we need to do now, it would cost quite a few $1 million. So, hey, we're doing it. We're starting to, and we're looking at our bridges and knocking them off one by one. So, and it's quite honestly, we're debentured $20 million. Be prepared. We just might debenture another $10 million in the next 2 or 3 years, 5 years. It makes sense. If you're gonna build a piece of infrastructure that lasts for 50 years, why not debenture it for 50 years? It's going to last 50 years. So, but that's just for certain things like bridges and big ticket items. Anyway, let's move on. If there's any more.
Can I ask one question then?
Sure.
In 1970, when they built the arena, they didn't debenture it when they built the arena.
They built the arena for $375,000.
Yeah, but that was the equivalent of a lot of $1 million in today's money.
And they got
you're
one
talking something 47 years ago.
And they got Ontario money.
Oh, they got money, grant? Oh, they got grant money. Okay, so that's why I needed to wonder how they pulled it off then, and we can't pull it off today.
Well, they got
grant money.
They got grant money, and they fundraise like crazy. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that went door to door every night for 6 months, knocking on doors, selling everything from coffee cups to your worship's in the crowd. Ask her; she'll tell you sometime. Mayor Packham. So she was around then.
I was going to ask that question, Mr. Mayor. I thought there was one individual that kind of put that all together, donated a lot of money to build the arena.
Not that I know.
No.
It was Ontario money and township money. And trust me, at that time in 1973, I'm being told that when, the debate that we had around this table, this horseshoe for trying to build the MERS project, they had the exact same debate in this room for $375,000 too. So, and you know what? Debate's healthy. It should be. We should have debate when we're spending that kind of money. Anyway, seeing no more questions or comments, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, Treasurer, Director of Finance, Tax Sales, verbal update. Ms. DeFilippis, please.
Thank you, Mayor Joyner. On July 20th at 3 o'clock, we had our opening of our tax sale tenders. There were 4 properties that were available for tender. Originally, there were 6 properties, but prior to the actual tax sale closing, 2 of those properties were redeemed by the owners, and the taxes owing were paid. So of the 4 that were available for tender, we received 4 bids on one property and 1 bid on another property. So the paperwork has been sent to those 2 tenderers. And there were another 2 properties where there were no bids received. And I will be preparing a report for August outlining council's options with those 2 properties that we received no bids.
Will that process entail going out to tender again? Would that be one of the possibilities?
Through you, Mayor Joyner, in a nutshell, the choices are we can vest the properties, which would mean that the township would own them. Another option is we can review the penalty outstanding and the taxes outstanding and make adjustments to those amounts and re-register the properties with the thought that they may be more attractive if they have a lower minimum tender amount.
Okay. Very
Those
good.
options will be outlined.
Councillor Bosma? Thank you.
I received the memo from Trish regarding the dates that they would be proposed, and I scoured the papers, the papers that I thought, the local papers that I thought that would be in there, and I never found a notice saying that these properties were because I was kind of curious, and so I wonder if people didn't find out about it or something like that, because like I said, I was on the look for it, and I never saw any of those things. So I could be blind. I mean, but maybe that was one of the reasons we didn't get tenders on some of them. I don't know what else to say. It's just an observation, I guess.
Okay. You did know they were on our website, though, too, as well, on our homepage?
Well, yeah, I know. I was kind of looking for the paper, the paper copy, just to see, because that, kind of gets out there a little bit more in terms of that reaches all the people. Yeah. Anyways.
So, Madam Clerk, maybe you can send to all of council the actual date in which it was in the newspaper. Could you do that for us?
No, you don't need to do it. It's done. It's done. I just,
Okay.
It was kind of an observation because I was looking for it.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you for the verbal report. We'll move on to S. Carolyn Langley, report RFDC 08217, the JAAC revised terms of reference. Councillor Trombetta, you have that resolution, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Bell that report RFDC 08-2017 dated July 24, 2017 regarding JAAC revised terms of reference be received, and that the revised terms of reference for the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee appended as Schedule A to this report be endorsed, and that the bylaw be presented to council once the other 5 participating municipalities confirm approval of the proposed changes.
Councillors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councillor Trombetta and seconded by Councillor Bell. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you to everyone who sits on that committee. Okay, we'll move on to, we did U already, so we'll move on to miscellaneous items, section E.
D for T.
Oh, sorry, yep, okay, so Public Works Recreation Arena items. Director of Public Works and Engineering report, PW 25, 2017, which is a revised bridge load restrictions, Bridge 34 North Chippewa Road in Ward 1. That resolution, Councillor Bell.
Signed, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Bilsma, that report RFD PW-25-2017, revised bridge load restrictions, Bridge 34, North Chippewa Road be received, and that Township Consolidated Traffic Bylaw 89-2000 be amended by deleting the current Schedule Z1 load limits on the bridges, therefore, and inserting the attached new Schedule Z1 load limits on bridges in lieu of therefore Attachment A to this report to be provided for the reduced load limit on Bridge 34.
Councillors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councillor Bell and seconded by Councillor Balsma. Is there any questions or comments? Councillor Rayner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you to the Director of Public Works, can you give us an update, what your thoughts are with regards to Bridge 34? Is it still inspected on a monthly basis, and then how long do you expect it to go, and is there any opportunities down the road to get it replaced?
Excuse me. Through you,
That's
Mr.
a lot of questions.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councilor Rayner. It is still under monthly inspection by engineers. Difficult to say, when that bridge condition will change. We're getting monthly reports on it. We know it is changing, but the exact time when that bridge condition could change to, it's really up to the engineers. It is still in our capital plan. I haven't got the year in front of me, but it's in the 2020s, in that range.
Okay, so it's still in the books, which is important, and we're still using the bridge, which is important. So at this point, thank you.
Okay. See no other questions or comments, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, miscellaneous items, sale of industrial lands, public comment opportunity. Read, public comment regarding proposed sale of lands, if any. Property description is parcel number 1, part 2, and part of part 3. Reference plan 30R 10710, approximately 1.2 hectares or 3 acres. And the property description of parcel number 2 is part of part 3, reference plan 30R 10710, approximately 0.53 hectares or 1.3 hectares. This gives anyone in the gallery a chance to talk about the sale of this land. The Municipal Act says that we have to advertise it. We did. It's surplus lands to our needs, so we've done that. So if there happens to be anybody out in the gallery that wants to comment on this, speak now. Seeing none? Is that fair, Madam Clerk? From CAO? Okay, so we'll move on to W, members of council remarks. And it says here to add Brent. So I'll let Brent, Mr. Julian, go first, and then we'll go second.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to you and through you to the members of council. I'd like to give you another update on the design build project that's going on at our fairgrounds. The design build committee is still meeting weekly with the Ball construction team. The design is moving along very well, and the project we have received a site plan approval application, and that's under review right now. We're still expecting to break ground in the late August, but it'll really depend on wrapping up the design to a point that we can do that, but that is still our target. It's looking good. On Monday, July 10th, we met with members of Enbridge, MPEI, and Sustainable Building Canada. There was a charrette that was held. We also met with the design team, the various engineers and the sub-trades, as well as the engineer from our side. And the idea was to review all the options to make the new facility a more energy efficient and building, as well at the same time reducing the environmental footprint on it as much as possible. Of course, our goal is to try to keep our operational costs as best as we can, in keeping with a green building at the same time. As I said, construction is still pending late August. However, we are planning now a groundbreaking ceremony. We have a firm date. That date is August 17th at 11 a.m. And we are hoping, and I'm encouraging very much, that all members of council please attend that. The members of the Ball team will be there, as well as the media, and we will be sending some reminder emails out, but I did want to get that information to the members of council as soon as possible. And certainly please let me know as soon as you can. That would be appreciated.
Mr. Mayor, can we revise that date?
What do you got proposed? You're in Mexico?
there's a bunch of us away in the month of August, which is already stated, so I think we should, if we can bump to September until we get back in the full swing of things. I don't see what the problem with that is.
Mr. Julian, it's not imperative that we have a groundbreaking after the fact that we've actually broken ground, is it?
To you, Mr. Mayor, I don't think that there's any real rules to that.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, in the beginning, we've got, it's probably a week to 10 days of servicing and some preliminary work that has to be done and some demolition anyway, so, it might be good for the photo, actually, if there's more work going on. I don't know, just kidding. What do you think? Because Councillor Trombetta makes a good point. There's going to be a couple councillors away. And I know that you were moving the date around to accommodate me because I'm going on holidays August 21st too as well. So do you think maybe we can bump this back until first week, second week in September?
To you, Mr. Mayor, and through you to the members of council, I will certainly review that. We were having a difficult time, not just your own schedule, but there's a lot of people that are involved in there. If I would appreciate if we could get the members of council, or if somewhere around that first week, I think is probably
First week of September? Or
yeah,
August?
in there is what I'm thinking. I still have to confirm that with the ball team, but I'd be happy to review that if members of council could advise me if you were around for that first week, that would be helpful.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to instruct Jackie to give everybody a call and to find out when your holidays are going to be in August and try and coordinate that with the staff and with the ball and the engineers and all the other people that would be involved in the groundbreaking ceremony too. Okay? Is that fair? Okay. Okay. Sir, is that the end of your report?
No, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Close. As per the June council meeting, if you'll recall, we advised council of the closure of the fairground sites for the duration of the construction period due to safety reasons. Since then, we have hand-delivered notices to the adjacent residents in the Swayze Court Autumn Circle and then the Farewell Wesley area.
Northridge.
There were 300 notices hand delivered, but we've also published that in the local paper, and that is on our website now.
Okay.
And lastly, as council's aware, there is a capital fundraising campaign that's being working in tandem with this project. That the first phase of that, the community scan survey, is near completion. Our consultant, Mr. Glenn Boy of Campaign Coaches, he will be making a presentation to council at the August 21st council meeting. However, our consultant has advised us that they have gathered enough indicators to establish that our fundraising goal of $1 million is achievable. Our consultant will be available to provide fuller details for you next month. And we are also planning at this time to bring our consultant from Kalos Engineering to the August council meeting as well to make a presentation of that, what we hope is the final or near final design, so that you can see the near finished product.
Okay.
And that's that report for members of council. I just wanted to take a minute, if I can, to advise the councilors and Councilor Chichuk. I am lucky enough the South Grimsby Road 5 was approved at council in January. Public Works Report number 3. So I look back and it's a value of $283,000 and change for that.
So it's tendered though.
South Grimsby 5, Stony Creek Town Line Road, as well as Camden Road are in that tender. $283,675.
Camden Road?
Is it Camden? Yeah, the one that comes out to 69.
The little bend.
Yes, our part of it
Okay.
is included in that.
Okay. Mr. Julian, have we received a report on guardrails and which ones will be replaced? Just while I'm thinking about it.
To you, Mr. Mayor, we passed that tender, I think, in May. I don't have the list of the bridges on that, but that tender has been awarded. That was Peninsula Construction that won that.
Okay, do you have a pen on you? Can you let me know if the guardrails on South Grimsby Road 8 on the south end as you approach 20 Road, not Highway 20, but 20 Road? So South Grimsby Road 8 and 20 Road, the guardrails on the west side of that bridge there. Can you let me know if that's on the list sometime? Okay. Thank you. Okay, sir. Good? Mr. Julian, you're good? Yes. Okay. Any comments or questions for Mr. Julian at this time? No? Okay. Okay, so members of council, council remarks, my left, your right. Councilor Rayner, anything? Okay. Councilor Trombetta?
Mr. Mayor, just at the appropriate time if we need to go past 11 o'clock.
Okay. Yep. Let's giddy up. Councilor Chichuk?
Other than the fact that this has been a very busy summer, not just for me, but for a lot of people out there. And I wish and hope that everyone has a safe and continuously joyful summer until we meet again at the end of the summer.
Thank you. Councilor Bosma?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. Councilor Bell? Okay, and I have nothing either, so then we'll move on to new items of business. Is there any members of council that has a new item of business, requires immediate attention, direction from council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, we'll move on to bylaws, and Councilor Chichuk, you have that resolution, please.
Mr. Mayor, and I'm very happy to read this for you. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Trombetta that leave be granted to introduce bylaws 2017, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, and 86 inclusive, and that the same shall be considered to have been read a first, second, and third time with one reading and are hereby adopted, and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to assign and affix the corporate seal thereto, any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding.
Councilors, you've heard the resolution moved by Councilor Chichuk and seconded by Councilor Trombetta. Is there any questions about the bylaws? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Opposed?
Well, she didn't read it.
Oh.
And you want to get out of here by 11?
I still could do it. I could read that in a minute.
All those in favor?
Is that better?
Yes.
That may say.
Okay, so, Councilor Trombetta, can you please give us a resolution to go past 11, please? Or can you make one?
By myself and seconded by Councilor Chichuk that the closed meeting will be authorized to go past 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Councilor Chichuk, can you please, oh no, we got to vote on that. All those in favor? And that's carried. Councilor Chichuk, can you give us the resolution to go into closed session, please? It's a big one.
Oh, it is. You're right. You're absolutely right. Sorry. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Rayner that the next portion of the meeting is closed to the public to consider the following pursuant to section 239, sub 2 of the Municipal Act 2001. A, the CEO West Lincoln Public Library Nest Home personnel matter staffing update. Applicable closed session exemptions would be the personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including a municipal and or local board employee. And B, the acting CAO clerk, Carolyn Langley. Read legal property matters on Port Hall Library, applicable closed session exemptions for personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Or, and litigation or potential litigation, including matters before an administrative tribunal affecting the municipality and the local board. And advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. And C, acting clerk, CAO, Carolyn Langley, and Director of Planning and Building, Mr. Brian Treble, regarding a legal matter recommendation for PB 10217, confidential report, recommendation report regarding the sale of land in industrial park in the township of West Lincoln, and applicable closed session exemptions are personnel matters for identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, proposed or pending acquisition or disposal of land by municipality or local board. And D, Councilor Mike Rayner regarding personnel matter relating to an identifiable individual with the applicable closed session exemptions being personnel matters about identifiable individuals, including municipal or local board employees. And E, from the Director of Planning and Building regarding personnel matters, staffing update, with the applicable closed session exemptions being personnel matters about identifiable individuals, including municipal or local board employees.
And then the bylaws come out of that, is that correct? The ones that are, yeah, okay. Members of council, you've heard the resolution moved by Councillor Chichak, second by Councillor Rayner. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, everyone. It's been a long night. I'm sure your legs are stiff. I know mine are stiff. So thanks for being a part of our council meeting tonight. And have a great summer. And we're going to take a 5-minute recess so we can stretch and maybe get a bag of chips.
Okay, 15 push-ups. 15? I'll see you later, sir. Oh, my God, that hurts. Good for you.